10 seconds. Give me 10 seconds.
We're live.
No! Wait, okay, we're going to cut this out at the beginning. I'm in the middle of tweeting the show.
All
right.
Okay.
No. It's all good. It's all good. Give me a breath. Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Don't Talk If You Don't Know, the unofficial, official podcast covering all things North American team fight tactics. My name is Frodan, and this week I am joined by, of course, my co-host Bryce Blum. Bryce, how are you doing on this fine mid-December evening?
I'm doing wonderfully. The summit was lit. Being home is also lit. My daughter is the cutest human being on planet Earth.
Love that.
That's
Love
it.
that for
All
you.
done.
We're all so happy for your beautiful family. Actually, speaking of the big, beautiful family, we are joined by Gangly as well from Hyrule Radio. You also may have seen some of his work at Last Act Legends and also just pretty much touching all the TFT broadcasts now. Gangly, how are you? How's the fam?
Good. Yeah, I was telling Appies that the transition from Summit, I feel like I kind of lost the Summit blues a little faster than other people because I got to come home and have two kids who were just really excited to see me. But all is well. Definitely enjoyed my time this weekend and happy to be home.
Awesome. And our very, very special guest, because, Gangly, of course, is a special guest, but to join us to talk about the summit behind the scenes and everything is Zane, aka Pengu. Do you want people to call you Pengu, or should people just call you Zane?
No, just call me Zane.
Elemental Penguin.
No.
Elemental.
No, that's the best part about TFT. He can just be Zane, and there aren't two
exactly.
other
There's
Zanes.
no imposter who's taken my name and become the #1 player in the world yet.
Unlucky.
Zane, if you play this game, it's on site, man. You're not allowed to play TFT. Hey guys, I'm excited to be here.
That's great. What a kind of a Giga Chad move, right? To come into the community and then just become the best and kind of displace your name from you, huh?
You know what's super messed up about it too is it's not even the correct pronunciation of his name.
Wait, really? What's the correct
You're
pronunciation of
so
his name?
Zane the Marth player. You're saying it's not how you say his name. How is
It's
it?
not how you say his name. You say Zan. It's
Zan?
Yeah.
Because
Because he's Pakistani, so AI makes an sound.
Man. So interesting. So it's almost as if for the native English speaker, it's kind of like as if the I is silent.
Yeah, he's totally fine with both of them because everyone calls him Zane.
Interesting.
But yeah, I'm upset whenever people disrespect the heritage of his name because they're stealing my actual phonetic pronunciation.
Fair enough. That makes sense. Definitely not confusing at a summit event. So we have Zane, aka Pengu, and Gangly and Bryce. And so what we're going to be doing for this episode was we were sitting at Summit, right? The origin of how this episode came to be was we're sitting at Summit, and I was looking at Bryce. I was like, our last episode of the year was supposed to be the Dragonlance Championship wrap-up, talk about Set 7, and send it off and see you next year. And then we just were at the very end of Summit. I was like, Bryce, we got to talk about the summit, but it doesn't feel like it's just go live on the stream and talk about it. We got to make it a podcast episode. And Bryce was all for it. Usually I have to drag him. Bryce is like, I'm so busy. I'm running my law firm. My child is starting to be able to speak any day soon and talk to me. And all these responsibilities, get the esports awards. Bryce, thank you. I know I dragged you into yet another episode.
No, this one, he's right. Everything he described is completely accurate, but this is the first time he's ever been like, hey, can we add an episode? I was like, yes, we can. I would love to hang out on stream and talk about this. It was too much fun to let it go by without taking a beat to acknowledge. I feel like we're gonna this is gonna be the first ever reminiscing that happens 2 days after a thing. Happened, but yeah, it's just too good. We gotta do it.
And then Gangly and I were we're kind of fusing our powers here, so to speak, with Don't Talk If You Don't Know and Hyrule Radio. Gangly, talk a little bit about Hyrule Radio and what we're going to be doing for Summit, just as briefly as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hyrule Radio, if you have not seen it before, it's a live TFT call-in show where viewers can call in with their hot takes, questions, concerns about the game, whatever it may be, and we will field your questions live with you here on Discord.
For the second half of the show, or actually the majority of the show, we're going to have special guests come in to also reminisce about the event, talk about their favorite memories, or maybe some fun stories that they've accumulated, or maybe even probably appeal to Riot publicly to do a summit too. I'm pretty sure every player has asked me on multiple occasions. Since then, if we can do that. So let's first talk about the summit experience, but from the very beginning. Bryce, how did the summit end up coming to be, just officially on the records that we have it, for any future TFT historians?
I mean, it's been like a year, so I'm gonna give my recollection of it, and please correct me if I'm misremembering anything, because I'm old and I'm sure I got drunk and forgot in between. So my recollection is that you had a New Year's resolution to do a TFT LAN in 2022. And
Yes.
and when you came in, you pitched me on that was the original resolution. Then you pitched me on the vision for it, and it was a casual competitive event that would really showcase the personalities of the TFT players. Then you said, like a summit. Like, have you seen a summit before? And I go, yeah, I've seen
I did say that.
Yeah, I said I've seen mini summits, and that is a great idea, except for I'm going to amend it from like a summit to a summit. If we're going to do this, it should just be a summit. There is no one else who does this on anywhere near the same level in esports, right? And definitely not for some time. There are some like OG events that I think were comparable, but it's been quite a while. Whereas BTS kind of has the formula and crushes it every single time. So literally that night, I sent David a text. I've known David for, I don't know, 8 years now, something like that. We've been their lawyers forever. I mean, it's been probably 6 or 7 years that my law firm, first me personally, and then my law firm, and then now my current law firm, have done BTS legal work. So
David, to be clear, is one of the founders of the company.
Yes,
he goes by LD. Former legendary Dota caster and one of the people who founded the studio. So
yeah, it was actually founded by 2 Davids, both of Dota origin.
Yeah, Parker and Gorman.
Yeah, so this is LD David. And so anyway, so I texted David and said, I have a great idea for you. I've never pitched you anything before, but I want to pitch you something. Can you assemble the troops? And he was curious and said yes. And so then Dan made a deck like that week, I think, right, Dan? Is that right?
Yes. So Bryce, everything Bryce said is true. He said like a summit. He's like, actually, it's great because I don't really get to call favors ever in esports, right? Like Bryce is just so busy kind of saying yes and helping everybody else that he gets to actually ask somebody now. And so he organized it, and that week I was just so pumped. Wait, okay, Gangly, if I send you the deck, is it possible for you to even show it on stream? I know it's like asking a production thing, but
send it over. Let me see if I can figure.
Okay,
it out.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it's like a PDF, whatever. Yeah,
it is a PDF, but I remember sending it because the one line that it got me hooked was that we could be the very first moment that a lot of these people meet, because like we talked about at the beginning, TFT launched and then COVID hit. So many of these friendships have been based upon just online only interaction. So I was like, as I was kind of writing the pitch together, I was like, that is so true. The first time that it didn't happen, but the first time if like Soju met Ray was at the summit, like how special would that be if it was able to capture that? But it was still largely true across the board for so many different people.
So Dan builds this deck. It's a pretty good deck considering that he's insanely busy and built it in like 48 hours. We send it to BTS. We have an initial call with BTS. Zane's not even working there at the time, right? At the time, it was Ken Chen. It was Hotbid that was like the TFT insider person from BTS, and he was going to do it. He got super obsessed with TFT as an aside, by the way. Like from that moment, I think within like a week, he was messaging Dan and I on almost daily basis for TFT advice. I can't remember how high he climbed, but he definitely got into master.
He got almost to GM. Okay. So this is Hotbid for the clarification, kind of a legend in the Dota scene, the StarCraft scene, and many other scenes. He also hosted Mafia, by the way, for people who were kind of wondering a direct connection for TFT Summit. And also, apparently, Kenshin, this is a side note, has a challenge going on with Zane for set 8 for Monster Stats. Who can get to GM first. And Hopin immediately DM'd me and tried to hire me as a coach. So now
wait. It's who can get to GM first? I need to start playing. We said highest LP. We said
I think highest is better.
Okay. Sorry. That's
yeah. Better. I'm busy. This guy is just working at Team Liquid. What does he have to do? Come on.
That's right. He's retired already.
They're closed for like the whole holidays too. So he's gonna have a
We're also closed, but I'm gonna be I'll be in California with no laptop, so Ken Chen orchestrated this.
Welcome to the mobile TFT world. Join me.
Yes.
Yeah,
actually, it's not amazing, but it's good enough. It scratches the itch for sure. Okay, then we meet with so we pitch BTS. BTS is interested, puts together a rough budget, and then I do basically the same thing I did on the BTS end, but on the Riot end. So I contacted a bunch of senior esports writers because at the time there was no TFT focused rioter, no TFT esports focused rioter. It was they hadn't hired anybody yet. Chad hadn't transitioned into his role. Michael Sherman hadn't transitioned to his role. So Dan, do you remember who was on that meeting? I mean, Greeley for sure, because I think that was my starting point. I'm trying to remember who else was on that call. I think Chad might have been on the call, actually.
Chad might have been
Chad
on the
was
call.
on
I don't
that.
think Michael Sherman wasn't.
No, Sherman wasn't for sure. He was in a totally different space at the time. It was like 3 or 4 riders, 3 or 4 BTS people, Dan and I, and we gave them kind of the impassioned pitch for the summit. They seemed genuinely very interested and said, hey, it'll take us a little bit to get back to you. And then it was radio silence for
months.
6 months, probably. Dan gave up. I would like it on the record. Dan gave up. I never gave up. I was like,
I did give up.
This is too good of a fucking idea to not do it. And so I texted David a few times, and I was like, "Hey, hang in there. I'm not giving up. We're gonna make this happen." When Sherm got hired for his role, and he started doing his introductory calls, Sherm is Chad's boss. So Chad, the person who put on, was basically the primary who put on this event from the Riot side. Sherm was hired to oversee not just TFT, but some other non-League of Legends esports as well. He did collegiate for them forever. Him and I go way back. So when he got hired, he did an initial set of calls. Some people I know, he talked to Dan, he talked to me, talked to a bunch of people in TFT. And I was immediately like, hey, you haven't heard about the summit yet, but this is a good ass idea that you're going to want to do. I'll resend you the deck. And then same thing when Chad got hired to his role. I was like, we should definitely do the summit. It's a really good idea. And then kind of out of nowhere, Dan, it wasn't that long ago. Jane, do you remember how long ago it was that Chad kind of re-engaged on this?
Oh man, I feel like maybe 4 months ago.
Yeah,
it really was not
August.
That long. Yeah,
August is when my email starts to load up from him.
Yeah.
Okay. So August comes and they're like, hey, we might have budget for this. Let's have another serious conversation about it and kind of nail in some specifics. And then from there, we were off to the races. I mean, in pretty short order, it was clear that Chad really wanted to make this happen. He had the money to do so. He was going to be able to leverage publishing resources from Riot, which is a really big deal in general, but a specifically very big deal for TFT because it's the first time publishing resources have ever been expended like this, I think, on TFT esports. And then that's when Zane enters the picture and basically turns this from a thing that Dan and I have to drive forward to. Zane just ran with it, and Dan and I were like, "This is great."
For me, what happened is that I had heard murmuring. So we have to have Ken Chen back in the picture here because Ken Chen knew when he was hiring me that he was probably going to be leaving BTS and going to Liquid. And so he actually asked me about TFT, and I thought nothing of it at the time, except that he also plays TFT, and he had gotten super into it, and we could talk about it, and that was it. And then when he left, he had made sure I knew TFT. This is what he told me, so that there would be someone on the team who did it, because most people at Summit do not play, do not even could tell you what's happening on the stream at TFT, which to me is just a testament to what a great job our production team did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the fact that they had no idea. But I think there are 3 other employees at Summit who have touched the game before, other than me. And none of them were in the control room, which is why I brought Gangly in.
We'll get to Gangly in a little bit once we get to that timeline. So once we started, the process was kind of tricky because we invited a bunch of people to be part of the first wave of the player list, and it didn't actually go the way we wanted it to, Bryce. We invited Boxbox and Skara, and we originally had Mort and Kent slotted in, and myself and Bryce, we knew we wanted to play, and so we're taking up 6 slots from people who aren't true native to competitive TFT, right? Maybe Skara and Boxbox are adjacent to it. But and then Hafu and Dog also came to the picture. We're like, if we do 16, it's gonna be Milk, Soju, Kiyoon, and then we start realizing we have no more space left. So we expanded to 24, hoping that the voting process, which is a big core part of Summit, which also is something that we want to talk about as well. And it was we'll be able to kind of load in the rest of the roster. But then we found out that wait, Esha is a person that we wanted to include as well. Imagine Summit just having ridiculous Esha moments. It almost happened, but it wasn't, unfortunately, in the cards. And then, of course, when we got to that point, people started dropping and kind of threw a little bit of wrench into plans.
Oh, we've skipped ahead in the timeline. I feel like we should I think talking about kind of the building of the summit is really interesting. For example, probably a lot of people don't.
You want to talk about the whole process, the whole?
Well, I think it's really interesting. I think people will be. Okay. I think I've gotten a lot of random questions about this on the side, and I feel like it'd be interesting to deep dive. So, a lot of people don't know that Zane did the first draft of all 3 skits, for example, right? Part of his job description is skit writing, apparently.
I did the first draft and the final draft of the final thing that and a lot of the dialogue changed, but the way that we did it is that Bryce, Dan, and I got into a call with our creative lead for this, Gat, who shot the courtroom piece or directed the courtroom piece. Awesome guy, super talented, as you can see.
Yeah,
from that.
so good.
And we just listed out every single idea that we had, no matter how stupid it was. So we had, I want to say, like 50 something ideas, and a lot of them were just dumb one-off jokes that were not full skits, right? But that then we went back to when we incorporated jokes into. And so we eventually narrowed it down to like 3 skit ideas. Actually 4. There were 4 that I think were the top echelon, and 1 got cut because we knew we wanted to do 3. Courtroom was always in the picture, and then the old one was in the picture, and not everyone knows this, but if you guys have ever watched the HTC retirement home skit from way back like 7 years ago, I want to say, that was actually one of the first things I worked on when I was at HTC Esports. When I worked there, I wrote a lot of the script for that and wrote all like the league references and stuff.
And
so,
I think I brought up. I was like, you know that old
you
HTC
brought it up without
ad?
knowing,
yeah, without knowing, and you were like, yeah, I do know it. I wrote it.
I wrote
was
it.
like, oh, okay.
Then the Mortdog one actually was a completely different script earlier. It was like a fairy tale. It started out actually pretty similar to how it is now, of just like a player getting Mortdogged over and over again, and then it turned into a fairy tale, and then it was a night before Christmas thing, and Dan wrote an amazing script that we just didn't have time to, like, genuinely incredible, that we didn't have time to make.
Good.
And then I rewrote it as like this sort of office thing. And then the final one was TFT Shark Tank was the other thing that we were like, I think was up there in the real front
that's
runners.
right.
Yeah.
I was forgetting what the 4th one was, but that was a banger.
But the way it worked is that I wrote the first drafts of the script, and I would put in my own jokes, and then I would give them to Bryce and Dan, who would punch them up with like more TFT jokes, and we would go over it, and I would take all that, and then I would rewrite the script with that feedback, and then pass it on to Andrew, our content guy, and that's how it got made. So even just writing the skits was a pretty lengthy process. I mean, I think we went through like a month and a half of like ideation up to like when the script was locked. Maybe
and there was a similar vibe on the side events. Obviously, no script writing, so it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
But we did the exact same thing where we threw a whole bunch of stuff against the wall. Zane had a lot more ideas for this because BTS has done so many different side events, and he had a really good takes about like, oh, this seems funny, but isn't as funny, or oh, you think that's gonna work, but it won't,
or vice versa. I mean, Bryce was really not a believer in the talent show, and I was like, trust me, which I get because it sounds super lame just on the face of it, but I was like, trust me, the way Summit talent shows go, it will work, and I think it's safe to say it did. In my mind, it's the best talent show that a Summit has ever done. Also, I think
really,
easily.
I need to go back and watch it.
Usually in Summit talent shows, there's some duds in there, and maybe it's funny that there's duds, the players just doing random stuff. But I think every single talent, even the ones that were intentionally, or I won't say intentionally, but the ones that were maybe less skill intensive than the others, I think everything landed. And was like,
dare
good.
you, sir?
Yeah.
I've been working on that coleslaw recipe for generations.
Yeah, we know. You have the award to prove it.
Wait, can I just say the picture that was posted on social of Bryce and his coleslaw, you can see grains of salt in the entirety of this coleslaw. It's actually horrifying.
Oh yeah, I dumped it into the trash, and we like had to take the trash out immediately that night because the entire studio, I guarantee you, the entire studio, which is a big place, would have stunk to high heaven if we had not taken that coleslaw out.
I think there's a picture. Was it by you, Gangly, or was it by Todd of Bryce pouring the salt? You can see that windfall, like entire like water stream. Okay, but it's so thick. I wonder if he played up in the filters, but it just looks like a giant mountain of salt that he.
I guarantee you, it was not played up. I mean, it was an entire carton. That was a new carton. We had never used that before. We got that just for Bryce.
It was exactly what I was envisioning too. I was like, I want a nice, good pour. Zane's like, oh, Zane, I got you. And it was perfect. I literally couldn't keep it together. I thought I was gonna be able to do the whole thing with a straight face, and I was dying like 10 seconds in. I think I could have maybe stayed in character, but then Mort was just like in so much pain over on the couch, cringing and like curling up on himself and shit that I was just like, oh, I can't do this. This is too funny.
Whose idea was the Asa Prestovant talent?
That's something we've done before at summits, the speed drawing thing, where there may be a little bit
one person doing really well fast, and then the other person doing.
I don't think we've ever done that before, where it's one person good and one person bad. But Asa said me and Prestovant are down, and let me tell you, I had to fight to get Preston to do this.
Yes.
He wanted to drop out so many times.
Yeah.
But
That is the thing though about Preston. He's usually down for anything, and even if he says he's no, he's gonna do it. He's a homie.
Well, I was just bullying him, and I was like, I was in the Discord. I'm like, bro, I'm making you Da Vinci. Like, you don't know what I'm cooking up in there. What I'm trying. But that was my idea, because we've done the gag of just like flip the whiteboard around before. Like someone had literally just printed out a picture of HBox and put it on the whiteboard, and like that's what happened.
Got it.
But for this one, I was like, I'm pretty sure I know how to make this work and make it funny. So that was my idea. Yeah,
it was hilarious, and also Bebe not realizing that it was fake and just being genuinely impressed.
I told him beforehand is the crazy thing, because I went around to all of them. I don't know, maybe this is a language difference thing, but Bebe's English is pretty
really
damn good.
Yeah,
so
really good.
I went to all of the judges beforehand because I had to look behind the scenes. I had to rig it, right? I had to be like, hey, Dan is going to ask you for a prompt. Don't say it. Christine is going to say Mech Leona, and then I'm going to have pre-drawn it. So I told Bebe, and he had no clue whatsoever.
Yeah, it was so funny too, because during the judging, he gave the higher score to P-God, obviously, and the other people gave it to Asa, and Bebe's like looking left and looking right and being like,
no idea.
He's like, I don't get it. Like, why do they think that one is better than the other one? That one seems pretty good to me.
What do we think about the format of the event? Let's talk a little bit about duos and how it's not your traditional TFT event. And then I asked the player even, like, do you think we could do Summit just singles? And, you know, the player was like, no, I think it actually fits with Summit to have that duos thing.
I think it would be a huge mistake to do Summit as singles. I think we have tons of singles TFT, and we have the very occasional non-singles TFT, and this is the event where it's good. It's good, it's better in every way. First of all, we're going to play fewer games, and so having 2 people on a team means you reduce variance. Second of all, team dynamics are really fun. They're really fun in the game. They create a much more fun dynamic in the room of bantering and yelling, and I definitely want to have ability to hear comms next year if that's possible. Zane, I don't know if you guys have done that before, but like if you could hear what's going on in the room, the live look-ins in the room for some of this stuff would have been unbelievably funny.
Yeah, I think what we'll probably do next year is probably just because taking it directly from their source would be a little bit frustrating just for various tech reasons, but I think we could probably just mic the room is what we do. Yeah, I mean, so Riot said to us 70%, 80% competitive integrity, 20 to 30% fun, right? And I think that, you know, as a set launch event, as having never done this before, that was really nice to hear, in that we could, you know, like be a little flexible with it, and everybody knew that going in. I actually was like, so there's 2 ways to go with this in a Summit environment, right? Because what Summit offers is time and access. And so one way to go is just make like the best TFT tournament ever. If you think that like one of the main problems with TFT competitive is variance being too high, you could just flood it with games, right? And just do as many games as possible. But then you lose all the cool things that Summit is about. And so what we decided to do is we actually did add an extra day on. Initially, this was a 3-day event only plus media day. And we added an extra day on so that we could get more games, but then also have the time for all this stuff in the middle. And I think duos is absolutely the way to do it. If there is another, I see people in the chat saying,
yeah, you guys are saying next year.
It's not confirmed. Go let Riot. This is the number one thing you should take from the show. Go tweet about how much you love this event, and like, don't harass. I won't say harass, but you know, just make it known how much you love the event.
Okay. Be careful. I'm jumping ahead again. So there is a moment. So part. Okay, I have to zoom really far out.
Yeah.
The player list was kind of up in the air. We didn't know who was going to fill the last spot when Soju dropped. So at the time, when Soju had told me and Bryce that he had to drop, or was deciding to drop rather, I was getting spam message from Milk, like, who's going to be my teammate? Who's going to be my teammate? And he asked me multiple times a day. At this point, Soju wasn't the only person thinking about dropping. In fact, a lot of players were very much in doubt because of that extra day, Zane. They were just saying, like, look, it's 5 days, it's set launch, it's a big part of my career, you know, streaming career is not stable, so it's really important to me. And so we try to, like, you know, accommodate by having a bunch of streaming setups at the venues and try to make those streaming hours available, which some people used. But not to get too sidetracked, Milk was like spam messaging me. He's like, look, people are worried, but like I need to know who my teammate is. And I was sitting across from Bebe just after I finished Set 7 Worlds. We're just having dinner, and I was like, well, I'm sitting right across Bebe. Would you like me to ask him LMAO? Like, I was not actually serious about it. And he just types Monka, Whoach. And then he said, yes, I'm so down. If that's actually a thing, Poggle business, like I am so down. Ask him now, please. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll ask. And Bebe immediately said yes. He's like, as long as I'm allowed to go, I absolutely will. So then I talked to Milk and said, like, we'll ask Riot. So we did ask Riot, but the problem was Milk didn't want Riot to like get off easy, right? So he basically talked about it on stream the night before he knew we were going to get a response. Because he wanted to start lobbying publicly for Bebe to join the summit.
Yeah, actually, yes, this was bad. When I do think that people saying we love this event, put on another one will be different. But yeah, it was bad. Milk should have gone to jail for his crimes against Riot administration as well, because he caused a big headache. But yeah.
Can we talk about format a little bit more? Because
yes, Gangley, I'm sorry. We're supposed to go to you because I know you love talking about this on High Roll Radio all the time.
It's okay. No, listen, because I think Zane brings up like a really important question, which is like, what do we think it is that is missing in the competitive landscape right now? And Zane said like, well, it could be the number of games, it could be variance, and I think the reality for me is like, I don't think that variance is actually that big of an issue for competitive TFT. I actually feel like the number one issue is how digestible events are. And I think that Summit was actually the perfect solution on multiple fronts. One, duos. I think duos immediately makes the game simpler because there are 4 teams to follow instead of 8 individual players, right? It also, like Bryce mentioned, deals with the variance kind of in of itself because it doubles your sample size. And it also, I think, makes it easier to build up these narratives. So coming out of PBE, everyone's talking about Dish Open and Iniko, right? But the reality is one player could flame out. One player could not have a great day. In fact, I think if you run Summit 5 times, it's not crazy to think that Iniko is one of the top scorers one of those times, right? Despite the fact that he did take on...
All right. Not get too crazy here.
No. I agree with this take.
I'm just saying...
No, I do as well, but the man is about to hop onto the podcast.
Confident about Gangley's take, actually.
Okay.
I think this is not a hot take at all.
All I'm saying is, like, the format itself deals with a bunch of different things that I think people talk about in TFT. The thing I'm saying about Iniko is one of those few things that, like, it is not crazy to think that there are other top scorers that come out of the event. We got to see their team pop off despite the fact that Iniko himself was not one of the top scorers of the event. And I just think narrative-wise, it felt really nice to see their team come out on top out of the group stage.
The basic thing that I would say for a hypothetical TFT Summit 2 is that like duos was amazing. And the way that I think this would need to operate to continue to exist is I would love to see it not at set launch. It's a great way to kick off a set, obviously, but it's just so many conflicting responsibilities for players who do make most of their income from streaming. And like the players were amazing and so available, and they want to climb ladder too. It's like the most impactful days for Snapshot. I know Snapshot is not for a while. I would love to see it in the middle of the season when people can devote their full attention, which they already did, but even more. And then pretty much everything else the same. I don't think it should have any bearing on qualifier points, the rest of the competitive scene, anything. It's an invitational by design. So with the vote-ins we'll get to that, but being based on stuff that is not strictly your skill. But as a celebration of the community, like it's amazing, right? And so I think it should probably strictly stay as that. And then we're just celebrating competitive TFT in a different way. It's competitive not because it needs to impact Worlds points or anything, but because we like watching high-level TFT. And especially in a different way.
I actually think week 2 works really well for this because then you give everyone a week and a half to grind ladder, do their thing, get to Masters, get to Challenger, get their initial set stream out. And then it also means that the whole TFT audience kind of knows what they're looking at. Like they've all kind of played the set a little bit. They've gotten excited about it. And then you use the summit as a way of building momentum for the set. So you're 8-9 days in into set launch when you do the tournament. It also guarantees a better patch. We actually had an amazing patch for this event, but we could have easily not. The number of times we've had the set launch patch be pretty bad, balance wise or bug wise or both, is like basically every set. Whereas Riot hit a home run this time. It was super fun. It was relatively well balanced. The meta moved daily because we were still figuring out like what the actual most broken thing was. Cough Viego. So I actually really think early set would work super well for this. I just don't think it should be on launch. And then you have to move the snapshots back by a week. So then players don't feel like they're losing anything. They're not losing snapshots because they got the week beforehand to grind to establish their position. They're gonna have a week when they get back to grind and get to where they belong, right? And I think if you do that, it all kind of harmonizes together really well.
I will say that was something. The one thing I want to call out what Bryce said is the meta evolving every night was partially due to the fact that there was a group of grinders who was staying really late. Some of them are in the chat, right? You have Souless, you had Setsuka, you had Dish Soap. I was there for a good portion of it. Asa, Rainplosion was sometimes hanging out right there. Robin. It's just really cool to be in an environment where you don't really get that, right? You can hang out in the Discord calls and all be playing TFT, but these sitting next to each other, watching each other grind games, giving each other advice, flaming them for mistakes, trolling each other, right? Just by one point felt like he knew the meta so well they just stopped playing and just started backseating Setsuko IRL, and it was some of the most pure TFT I've ever witnessed, right? Just watching two grinders giggle at midnight about like every stupid possible line of play from their angle. So really, really a special moment that I just wasn't really anticipating. I'm kind of sad it wasn't on camera, but at the same time, I think that's what made it great. It was kind of like their own private time. These are just the guys off camera enjoying TFT. And because of their effort, they were learning like the line. Like how good was Setsuko on day one of Summit versus the final day of Summit? It was a completely different player. He was so much better on day 4 than he was on day 1. It was outrageous, but so were other people. And that was so cool to watch at Summit, the evolution of the player.
The last thing that I'll say about the format is that something that I specifically said very early on when I took charge on this project, and Bryce and Dan can tell you that this was like one of the first things I said in our meetings, is we're going to broadcast every match. I don't want to have a single match be off stream.
Yep.
And I think that that's all well and good for other tournaments. Like it's a good thing, obviously, to play more matches and have the field be more open. TFT is a game we talk about variants, but we're at a pretty good spot with variants, right? Where people can actually get in, etc. But that's not what this event was about. And we talk about the narratives being super easy to follow. And part of that, I think, is because, yes, the players did not play that many games a day. Maybe they could play more. But if you watch that stream, saw every single match that happened. You saw every single match that happened that counted for points. And so it was very easy to track something like Setsuko was playing not as great on the first few days and then started playing really well. Whereas if some of those matches were off stream, maybe he just low rolled in his opening matches. Like you don't actually know. So yeah, that was important to me.
It applies to casting as well, right? Like it's so much harder for us to know because we get dropped in game 2 of Lobby B on day 2. It's just like it's just really hard to follow from our perspective. So much so that even during tournaments, when Bryce and I and Gangly are like doing Dragon Cup or Jade Cup or something like that, we're watching the non-made broadcast games so that we can have coverage. And even then, we still don't get the full picture because we're only watching 3 of those 8 players per lobby. And so TFT tournaments are just hard to follow. And I think that's what people really appreciate about something. It was like, wow, it's a tournament I can follow from beginning to end with all this fancy extra side events and ridiculous things going on, the skits, which I think we will probably show a little bit on stream, by the way. We're going to watch them together as part of this podcast. I think that's what really drew people in. It was like a holistic story instead of just snips and bits and pieces, I think.
I thought it might be fun to watch the skits with people who were in them,
so right?
Like,
yeah.
So
I like that.
So I think it'd be fun to do it that way.
Okay.
So I give Kiyoon heads up joining. The last thing I'll say about the format really fast is I didn't get a chance to poll everybody, but I was really curious from player perspective. So I talked to probably 12 of the 24 players would be my guess, maybe more actually, about what they thought of the format, like duos, solos. Would you want to add a day, keep it the same, or subtract a day? And basically the unanimous answer was keep it all the same. And the exceptions to that were people who said, like, I would be here for 2 weeks. You make it longer. I don't think they were like actually. It was. But that was the sentiment from really everybody across the board. Was like, this is so amazing. I just don't want it to end.
Yeah, I think people had wait until TFT Summit 4, and that's when people start to gripe. But I think people basically said like there could be things about this that would be better this way or better this way. But TFT players are sometimes a smart bunch, and I think they mostly saw like, this is this way so that something else can function in another way, which is how it had to be. And so, yeah, it was, I struggle to think of a format that would have worked better than this, to be honest.
I agree.
Summit 4 confirmed woke.
Zane's even harder than me. Gangly, you want to confirm the 10 Summit contract that we just signed with Riot?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually playing in all of them.
Yes,
We'll leave
yes,
that
that's
for the
right.
voting. Gangly has some strong thoughts about voting. I
Oh
know
yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh, I absolutely do.
All right,
The one last note to close up what you guys were just saying before was I mentioned the day 1 versus day 4 Setsuko gap, right? There was a massive canyon between the two. But the only wider gap that was established was the sentiment on day 1 of filming Media Day with Summit versus the last day of Summit.
Yes.
People were miserable after the first day. Bryce and I, being very honest, Bryce and I staked our reputation on this, right? Like a lot of players were very close to dropping. It wasn't just like Soju and other people who couldn't make it, but other people were thinking about dropping. The first day, everyone was so mad about 8 hours of filming, and all I had was like 2 lines where I didn't even say anything. I was just kind of in the background. And, everyone's grinding ladder. Like, what's good? I'm not practicing for tomorrow. Then the last day, everyone's like, I feel like we got here tomorrow. Like Bryce said, some people are like, oh, I wouldn't mind if it was like 2 weeks long. A lot of people were saying this is like some of the best experiences they've ever had in their life. And so it was just such a really cool journey that we all went on. But I'm really glad because if they hated it, I even told them, I was like, look, if you hate this and it's the worst thing ever, I give you permission to never believe me about anything anymore. Like I'm full of shit myself. So yes, I give you full permission.
Bryce and I had some late night messages when we were in the shit right the week before. It was a stressful time. The 2 weeks before were the most stressful time by far because of all this stuff. And we were just talking. And the thing that we said that we both agreed on is once they get there, it's going to be fine. Once they see what it is, because they didn't know what a summit was, right? I knew, y'all knew, but they didn't know, and that's not their fault. And then day 1 just seems like of Media Day just seems like you are. Yeah. We kidnapped Milk and took him an hour away and forced him to not play TFT. He's probably not that mad about the last part.
Kerm was like an addict in the parking lot. He was
scratching his arm.
He was like, I just want to go back to the thing and play TFT. I just want to
go back and play TFT, bro. That's literally what he was saying.
He also might have been suffering from early onset COVID symptoms. We don't know.
That's very
God. Oh no.
But yeah, I mean, look, it was dark times the 2 weeks leading up, and Dan's right. We did stake our reputations on this. There were 2 people who were knowers: Appies, because he's into Smash, and Iniko, because he's into Dota. So they knew the whole time how awesome this was going to be. When I messaged both in the first time, they were like, oh my God, I'm so down. When I messaged Iniko, I was like, hey, are you busy these days? Because this TFT Summit's happening and I want you there. And he responded and was like, I have no idea if I'm busy those days, but if I am, I'm not anymore. Because there's literally nothing. There is nothing that would keep me like, okay, so Ramblin had to miss for his brother's wedding. I'm pretty sure if Iniko's brother got married that weekend, that Iniko would have been sick.
What
or
he doesn't have a brother. There's no brother anymore.
But yeah, moral of the story, biggest told you so of all time. All of these D-Gen players that didn't have faith, would Dan and I actually really make this happen if it wasn't going to be amazing? Of course not. We knew it was going to be great, and I'm glad everyone's on the other side, kind of in the tent now, and recognizes how special this was. I know everyone wants to come back. Anyone who's at the first one, who's not able to go to the second one for some reason, is going to be sad, for sure.
Okay, that's not. Okay, look, there's no confirmed second one.
Yeah, there's not.
Stop taking all this, but this is all hypothetical. But yeah.
Okay, wait. I'll just say this once for the record, then I won't say it for the rest of the show, which is I am confident that there's going to be another one because this went too well. It was too good. The engagement was insane in chat. It was insane on Reddit. It was insane on Twitter. The sentimentality around I've worked in esports for over a decade. I've never seen something so universally positively received.
Yes.
Even on the main TFT Reddit, which is oftentimes feels very jaded in tenor, it was basically just an appreciation thread about how much everyone enjoyed it. The only gripe they had was they wish the advertising had been better because they wish they had watched the whole thing, or they wish more people had gotten to experience it because it was so good. So, do I think that this will happen? And yeah, because I think we hit a freaking home run, but it's not confirmed. I actually have no insider information. I'm not saying that because we haven't announced yet or anything. There is no any of that going on. I think everyone's going to go to the holidays and we'll have a conversation about it in the new year and figure out what it looks like. But that's where I'm coming from. I just think it was too sexy. And also the players loved it as well. All the players were raving to every rioter that was there about how special it was.
Yeah. I got comments from even at the esports world. So people were they said, I saw part of it. It was truly special, man. I was like, dang, that's really cool. And these people are just business people who maybe have played TFT. They're not, no-lifers like us. So really, really cool moment. And now we know who to blame. It's Bryce if it doesn't happen.
That's right.
Staking his reputation again, the double down. You gotta respect it. True Giga Chad. Okay, let's introduce our first guest for tonight's episode. We are going to welcome in
He's here.
Mr. Kiyoon.
Yeah, Mr. Kiyoon, as he
Mr.
is.
Kiyoon.
Ian, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
First of all, Kiyoon, I just want to hear about your experience, man. What was the summit like for you?
Okay, I'm gonna go from like the start to end. Okay, like way before, I didn't come from like a Smash background or Dota or anything, so I had like no clue what I was going into. And honestly, I was going with like a super low, like I didn't have like any high hopes or anything. But after like day one, it was still fun, but it was like tiring because it was media day and we were just stuck there for like 10 hours filming.
Yeah, you had the worst end of the stick on that one. by the
Yes,
way.
I
Ours
had,
was
like,
the
one
hardest
line
for sure
like
for that.
10 hours.
Yeah.
But day two began, and then everything was super chill. Everyone was nice. The production level was really good. The food was good. The environment was chill. There's like babies and dogs like walking around. It's like such a family-friendly environment, right?
First,
And we also
first baby
played
at a
food.
summit, I think, actually. I
Nice.
think Ryan has that title.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
like it was like a really wholesome, fun event.
Okay, so what was your? I'm gonna ask everyone 2 questions tonight. What was your favorite? First of all, funniest moment. Actually, let's do that first.
Funniest moment.
Yeah, what made you laugh the hardest while you were there?
I think honestly, it was probably when during filming, when it took like Milk 20 tries to say "whoosh" or "monka steer" or something like that. That was funny, and I was actually surprised at Setsuko for like he didn't have like his line was like something different, but
Yeah, totally.
he was just being himself and just act like he was like acting, but not really. I thought that was really funny.
If I can tell the story of both of those moments, because people have talked a lot about like the Milk took 20 takes thing, and it's true, he did, but I need you guys to understand like the reason it took 20 takes. It was that this guy, so first of all, you know, when I write the scripts, I always say, you know, change whatever you want. It should be true to the players, so whatever. So the line was written as Weird Champ, which is what we ended up using. But Milk didn't like it at first, and he wanted to do Nice Take instead. So he stood up. Good take. Sorry, yeah. So
Wait, the way he said the Weird Champ thing is he goes, this doesn't feel like a Weird Champ moment. Like I don't think in that moment.
He's such an artist.
I would say Weird Champ. And I was
So
like, okay, Milk, what would you say? He goes, I think it's like more like a good take.
Yeah. So he stood up and he goes, in the quietest voice I've ever heard Milk use, he goes, good take, buddy. That's like his voice shriveled and died in front of him. So there was that, and it took so long. We went from that to Monka Steer. And again,
first
when
we got like 5 takes of him saying, "That's a good take, buddy." Like
yeah,
louder.
we also had to clarify, like, no, just like you just need to say the emote. Like, don't say anything else. You're supposed to just talk in emotes. And then finally, we got to him to say Weird Champ, and it worked out.
Yeah.
I am being schooled on emote speak because I very frequently watch on mobile without my chat open, and there's no 7TV, so I know everything, but I see it all, but I don't have it show up. So I have 7TV. I'm being inducted in. Don't worry. I'm down to admit that I don't know.
It's okay.
All good. This man's a national treasure in the TFT community. He must be preserved at all costs. Yeah, I mean, that was so. What's the second story? So you want to talk about Setsuko?
Oh yeah.
The first one was about 20 take Milk.
Setsuko just like he just like did it, and now I understand that's the emote. My bad. Now I fully understand what's going on. Setsuko just like really didn't get it, and we just kept pushing him like just ad-lib it, just like be angry, just say what you would on stream, etc. The original something was written like, this game sucks, I'm bad, everyone else is bad, and he was like, this doesn't sound like me. Everyone else is like, this sounds exactly like you. It's transcribed from your stream actually. And then eventually on take 4, like it just, I mean, not to say it again, but like it clicked and he just killed it. And we were just like, that's it. He just got it immediately. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It really a switch flipped.
And then Kurum said something along the lines of, "This isn't fair. You just had him be himself. So of course he was faster." And then I was like, "We're just having Milk be himself, and it's taken 100 takes for fucking 1 word." So,
I thought Kiyoon did a good job actually, though.
I think I don't know. I'm like the worst actor. Or I was so bad at like drama class when I took it in elementary school.
So you guys didn't see a lot of Kiyoon and Kurum's takes because at some point it was just like taking a while. People went and hung out outside. But Kiyoon was the one where Kiyoon, you and I did like some directing and actors.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Imagine this, like how you're.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
wait, how did you get Kiyoon into character? What did you say to tell him to imagine?
I mean, I didn't get anything super deep, but it was just like talking about like your anxiety. Imagine that you say this like you have a secret and you don't want anyone to know, that sort of thing. That was what we talked about.
Kiyoon, what was it like playing with Robin? What was like the dynamic like between the two of you, especially going into the final lobby?
Oh, I knew Robin for like 2-3 years, so I was like already really close with him. I went to like many events and like I met with him often, probably the most. So we definitely had like dynamic before.
Mhm.
And then it was like we're close enough for like even if we go 7-8 or like 8-8, we wouldn't feel bad about each other, and we'll still have a fun time. So that's why I chose Robin, and we also had a pretty good chance of winning. So
Wait,
That's
Were
good.
you one of the
That's good.
were you one of the yapping teams? Like, did you guys talk a lot during? Because some certain rooms were kind of quiet and others were like so loud.
I think we usually talk, but we usually like don't listen to each other. We just say something, and like it just goes from one ear to the other, and we're just doing our own stuff. Except for the times where like it was like super hype, and we sent Souless and Karam 7-8, where we were yelling every turn. That was the most fun time I had.
Nice.
It's been a while since we actually have seen you compete,
tournament,
right?
yeah.
I mean, like I know you did play in set 7. I think it was Dragon Cup or whatever it was, but. What was it like for you to actually be back on stage and in like a setting, especially like in the final day where the pressure, even though it's like a for fun event, like the final day, there's money on the line, like there are some level of stakes. Like, how did it feel for you?
I just felt the same. Like after taking like a long break, or I guess I didn't even take a long break. I took like set 6.5 off and then 7 off, I guess, and 7.5 off as well. So it's like a 9 month break. It still felt good to be playing TFT tourney for sure.
Are you sweating this set? Like, do you think?
Oh yeah, I am. I have nothing now. Like I'm done moving, done with the family stuff, everything done.
That's exciting.
Is this like set 3? Kiyoon is back.
Oh yeah, hopefully.
Oh,
I'm actually looking. I'm trying to find a link to the score sheet, like as it was in the tournament, because I think Kiyoon actually ended up being pretty high in terms of the number
Raw
of firsts
points?
in the tournament
Yeah.
because of those 2 firsts at the end.
Oh, sure, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many games you won before the final day?
I'm not sure, but I think I was like 4th or 5th in the most points leading up to day 4, and then
That's pretty good.
on
So
the
you had,
final days I
you had,
went like
mid 40s probably. So that's
I was like 1 point below Setsuko or something.
In the middle of that final lobby, which we want to also ask about your reaction on game 4, but there was a speech that Julia gave. She was like yelling at you from downstairs. Did you like see that like in the middle of the tournament? Did you hear it or did you find out afterwards?
Oh no, I saw it. I was watching the stream while waiting for the games to start.
What were you thinking when you saw that?
Oh, I mean, I knew that I had to go first. But honestly though, like even though my score was like 8877, like if you saw my screen from the beginning, it was illegal. Like I was 4 loss and I lost a 1 in 3 matchmaking RNG, like literally 5 times in a row. Where the person just literally sold their board and open forwarded, and it literally just cucked my lose streak like literally 5 games. It happened, and then they also leveled to 6 at 3-1. So basically, I just got 1 in 3 like 5 times in a row, and my mental just boomed. Or I guess my mental didn't even boom, but like it's more so that like I had like literally limited resources. I was like down 20 gold, 20 HP for fun.
Okay.
What was it like being in game 4?
That's definitely my favorite story of this event. Like I think that's the most fun I had playing TFT. It was like everyone was saying that the game or the tournament was over and Souless and Karma already won because they had to not go 7-8. And the entire like lobby plus like people at the summit were praying for Souless and Karma's downfall. Like, nothing against them, but that's how like the thing was. And when it actually happened, it was like the most hype. Like I was actually like,
Was there a moment you remember in the game where you realized it could happen? Like,
oh
you
yes,
realized they could go 7-8.
Yes, when Kerm won 8th and Souless was 1 HP or like 2 HP, I'm like, oh, this could actually be possible. And I knew that if it happened, it was going to be going down as the best moment of TFT.
Hey, can I just say that the fact that we weren't on Tournament Realm made that moment so much better, because on broadcast, we're actually seeing people coordinate in chat, like what their matchups are, who needs to sell their board. And Nico, like, he sells a 2-star 4 cost or something in order to lose. Like that moment, it was actually infinitely better because of the constraints that we were actually in with production.
Yeah, so this was a big discussion that we had when we first were figuring out how the broadcast would go, because obviously we've never done a TFT broadcast before. And so we were talking about potentially just doing it this way where we did game capture. And Bryce actually made a really good point early on in a call that this way you get to see positioning changes, you get to see how people are interacting with the shop, etc. It's way even things that you can see in spectator mode. Just being able to track cursor is like being able to track someone's thought process. So it's really big. And it really paid off in that final lobby.
Totally.
But the cost for it was actually Gangly was the one who had to deal with the entire cost of it because
Oh, no trade-off at all then. Excellent.
yeah, exactly. Because Gangly was the one in the control room who had to like one of the big downsides is on Tournament Realm on TR and spectator mode, you can just mouse over someone's whatever their augment list and see what they have. But Gangly had to be doing it just by icon. And certain times like you would have to, like with the Kurum situation where we weren't able to broadcast Kurum at all, like in the final lobby, what Gangly would do on stage 2 or stage 3 whenever he needed to find an augment is he would have to find whoever was playing Kurum, go to that fight, and then do the
That
augment.
sounds so
from that.
complicated.
But you know what? Like the best part about that, so it's game 5 when Souless and Kurum go.
When you
right?
yelled, when you
yeah.
oh no,
So
yeah.
Zane and I are in the control room, and I have this
Yeah.
multi-view, so I can see all 8 POVs. So I'm seeing everything before anyone on the couch is seeing anything. And, and it's the it
was game 6. It was when Souless hit
Souless hit the prismatic band of thieves.
Yeah.
I
He screamed.
like just screamed at the top of my lungs.
Go eight, because Souless was the
It was
player, yeah.
my heart exploded in that moment. Actually, I was really glad that Zane got to see that that moment with me because like Zane mentioned before, no one else in the broadcast booth understood TFT. So in the last couple of games, Zane came and hung out with me and got to experience those last couple moments.
We were just explaining TFT on comms a lot of the time whenever there was downtime. There were 2 moments like that. That was one, and then the other time, which like so much credit to Nick Gangly on this because he was the one calling a lot of this. He's not BTS staff. I brought him in expressly to do this, and he killed it. I think like the spectating was amazing all weekend long from what I saw of it. The other moment was that he immediately caught when dogs hit Think Fast, and we were there within like 3 seconds of the Think Fast.
Oh, true. That's
which is
really
so important.
That was like the most tragic Think Fast ever, by the way. It was like, it was
Yeah.
like a
Oh my
horror- it was
god,
like a
he
horror
rolled
film.
so bad. Oh my god.
Well, Kiyoon, we don't want to hold up too much of your time. We have 4 more guests we want to go through. Anything you want to say before we let you go?
We're gonna watch the skit.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, we're gonna watch the skit.
Let's watch
Oh,
this
you're
skit.
watching
Let's
the
watch the
skit?
skit really
Okay,
fast.
this
We talked
is
about it a lot, but let's
Courtroom,
actually
right?
watch it.
Courtroom. Yep.
Yeah, courtroom.
All right, we're going in.
All rise.
Be seated. We will now begin the trial of Jeffrey Milk Pan. Prosecution, what are the charges?
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant's list of crimes are almost too many to list. In addition to the initial charges of defamation and copyright infringement, we also stand to believe that he is guilty of tricking noobs, low APM, and worst of all, being North American.
These are some serious charges. Defense?
These guys are too free. Your Honor, pursuant to Section 23.A, subparagraph 2, subparagraph 16, as well as in the jurisprudence laid down in the Mortdog Code of Ethics.
All right, enough of that. I want to hear directly from the defendant. What do you have to say?
Weird champ.
Mr. Kiyoon, tell me what Mr. Pan did.
This guy was literally bug abusing in PB. Rat.
Mr. Kiyoon, do you recognize this picture?
Yes.
What is it a picture of?
That's a carousel from the first game.
And what pick were you on this carousel?
I was first pick.
And with the first pick on this carousel, what item did you select?
I think I ended up taking it as a fair.
Motion to dismiss on the grounds of being cringe.
Motion approved. You disgust me.
The defense calls Kurum X to the stand.
You're Kermex?
Objection. This is clearly an imposter.
Can we get the real Kurum?
Objection.
Sustained. Defense, I'm close to holding you in contempt.
I'm here.
Can you explain yourself?
These are my associates. Mi familia, capiche?
You would say my client is a good player, yes?
No, he's not. He's very bad.
But he got third at Worlds.
No, we all know that Milk only made it to Worlds at all because he high rolled out of his mind, and then Bebe can't even make it to Worlds at all, so we just pivot to casting. Like, honestly, if this game was balanced, I would be the best player. Like, I would
All
win
right,
every
enough.
Worlds.
I've heard enough. This is a circus. Counselors, please approach. All right, look, real talk. I got to get back to sneaking Lilia into the next set, so can we settle this?
I'm down to plea.
I got a hair appointment soon. Sure.
Great. I've come to a decision. Defendant, please stand. Jeffrey Milk Pan, the extent of your crimes is massive and your conduct has done you no favors. I hereby sentence you to be banned from playing TFT Monsters Attack entirely.
That's it. I was gonna play until midset anyways.
And 13 years in a maximum security prison with no access to any music, including Blackpink, for the rest of your life.
It is I, baby, and I have decided to drop all the charges on Mr. Milk.
Bet! You like Blackpink?
Yeah, sure. Let's go see Jisoo.
Whoa!
All right, we're back.
Oh, man.
Oh man, that was so good. That was just too good. Oh jeez.
Yeah.
Kiyoon, your facial reactions are so good, man. Oh,
Yeah.
No, that was my actual favorite.
Kiyoon was shaken, but
Yeah.
not because of he was feeling like he was scared of acting. So that's
I was scared of acting. I hate being put on
Okay.
the spot.
Keen, you can admit it. I'm way too intimidating on Cross. Yeah.
Honestly, you were.
All right. As a go away question from me, who wins best actor for that skit and who wins best supporting actor? Like you're one and two.
Okay, best acting has to go to Setsuko.
Yeah.
I don't know
sure.
if
Not
it's
acting.
Not acting doesn't count. Go next.
No. It's totally valid. People love it. I thought it was so good.
Oh, God.
And then what was the second one again?
Supporting actor.
Best supporting actor. Honestly, it's probably Ken. I think Ken had the most line, or one of the most line, and he was always at the.
I agree.
podium.
I think we can discredit Bryce and Frodan from this one just because
Yeah, 'cause they're natural,
masters,
like,
whatever, man.
they're so
But Kent
natural.
was,
What? All right.
Kent was amazing.
Wait,
Kent was so good.
who played the two other Kurums?
Oh, guess.
Wait, can you guess?
Guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, I couldn't guess at all. Okay, let me think. Who else?
I want to
would
hear
have
what
been
chat
there?
thinks too before we reveal it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
chat
guess. Oh, I can't remember anyone.
The
else
hint
that
is
was-
you saw them in the skit as well.
We saw them
big
in
hint.
the skit.
That's a
as
huge
well?
hint.
Wait, what? Okay, Bebe.
Yeah.
And who else did we see? Kiyoon.
Nah, it's me. I was the
Oh,
second one.
Zane.
Yeah, it was Bebe and me. I mean, I think
Yeah.
when Bebe stands up and does the wave, it's just so obviously Bebe. He
His
stands up.
mannerisms.
Yeah, and then it was me as the second one. Bebe also put on the morph suit backwards, so like his feet were pointing the wrong way. His zipper was down
You can see
the
the zipper on the front
Oh, that's
middle.
amazing.
yeah,
And we were like, fuck it. We'd already been there for 8 hours. It was the last
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So fun.
All right, we got to let Kiyoon go because we got to keep going.
Yep. Thank you so
Too
much.
fun. Too fun.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for joining, man.
Thank you.
Thank
This
you.
was so
Thank
fun.
you.
All
Glad to
right.
have you back this set, buddy. Excited to see you pop off.
Twitch.tv/Kiyoon for anybody who's never heard of him, which if you follow TFT, you live under a rock.
Yeah, I wonder what percentage of our audience doesn't know who Kiyoon is. I'm guessing like roughly 0%.
So,
The
someone
BTS
did message me that their first foray into competitive TFT was through our podcast, Bryce, because they had known me from Hearthstone. So but that was like the only comment I ever got. So it was like 1%.
All right, one. I like it.
All right,
Yeah.
and Nico's here.
Oh, baby.
What's
Hello.
And Nico, I hear you broke up with me and you started dating Zane.
Oh.
Talk to me about that.
I mean, wait. I mean,
what?
there's
we
enough-
have
there's
the
enough
photo
to go
evidence. We have the
around,
photo
you know?
evidence to prove it. Actually,
Yeah. I mean, that's gonna be
Wow.
one of my stories.
Wait.
Probably. Am I allowed to have two different stories? By
Oh,
the way, for
just
my-
start
Yeah.
talking.
Just
please,
go into it.
fire
Go
away.
into it.
Yeah.
Drop
Oh,
it. Drop
really?
it.
Oh.
Oh,
I-
yeah,
I-
please. This is the whole
okay.
point of this. We just want to reminisce, please.
Okay.
What do you got?
So it's just the funniest moments. The first one, it was, dude. Like I literally still think about this like a week later and just start chuckling to myself. It was media day, and so everybody. It was late at night. Everybody was tired as fuck. It was like 10 p.m. or something. Me and Milk and Dish Soap were upstairs in the in the fucking good room. You know what I'm talking about? The
The
W
light room, the bright room.
Yeah, and so we're just like shooting the shit for like the past couple hours, playing TFT stuff like that. And like at one point, it's been silent for like a minute, and like we're all just like in game, and Milk just rips like the nastiest burp you've ever heard in your life, and it literally, I have to like imitate. I'm not gonna like really do it, but it was like, "Ugh," and then he just goes. Monka, and me and Disrupt just start fucking dying, dude. Like it was seamless. He just does this immediate monka. We were like, "How? Like you are not real, Milk. Like there's no way." Asa was there, but he was not in the room for this. He was not in the room at this time. Like it was like one of those things that like if somebody else wasn't there with me to experience it, like I would not even be convinced it happened to myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So funny.
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your funniest moment.
Well, that was one of two. The other funniest moment, which kind of ties into the formation of my and Zane's companionship here, our situationship is was it final day, Zane? I think it was final day, right?
It was final day because it's while you were commentating wild card. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and so you guys are on, or whoever's on couch, and then Zane and I are sitting on the standing mics on the stools, and I think it was Amy from Riot was behind the monitors, and she had her phone and she was going to take a picture. And I think I was the only one that saw it, unless you guys were like on the couch, like trying to remain in character for casting. And so like I leaned over and I did like the friend wraparound arm with Zane to like pose. And I thought Zane was also like I wasn't looking at him, I was looking at the camera. I thought Zane was also posing, and then he like leaned into me, and I was like, oh, we're doing like a funny picture, okay. And so like. I like did like a mock kiss, like I puckered my lips, like pretend like, oh, I'm leaning in for a kiss, and then he leaned in more, and I ended up like kissing his ear because
totally touched it. I thought that there was some secret stuff I needed to hear.
What was your reaction when he kisses your ear?
We both just started. I immediately knew that something like there had been some breakdown in communication, but I still did not know Amy was there. We both just started laughing.
Wait, does Amy have a picture of
this? Kiss on?
Yeah, so it's funny you ask.
We have
it. It's funny you ask. So. Not only did she get the picture, I went over to her and I was like, hey, like I don't know if you saw what just happened. She was like, no, she was like, I already made it into a GIF. I have 6 pictures. I have the frame by frame.
Nice.
And so she sent it to me, and I sent it to Zane. Oh
okay,
my
wait,
God,
you guys share this more wide. You guys share this more widely.
I can send it. I can send it right now.
I was wondering.
It's literally just the frame by frame of each picture, but it was just funny that she like immediately was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on it. Don't even worry."
That's so good.
I was wondering where this bromance started, because I noticed that when Zane posted his post-summit like Twitter post, it's like, I had the best weekend, or the best week of my life, I'll never forget this. He posts all these pictures of like him on the couch, everyone doing things at Summit, and then just a picture of him and Iniko. I'm like, wow. I had no idea they were so close.
I mean, I actually, okay, I have to reveal that I posted that today, and it was a hard decision figuring out which photos were going to be in there. I didn't know if I wanted to use photos I had already posted before, etc. And unfortunately, I will say, Appies, who I know is there right now, Appies did get cut because I had a photo in exactly the same pose with Appies that we took at the end. Appies, I love you.
Messed up.
I love you, but I also needed to put the location of my laptop. If anyone has seen a MacBook in the Hyde Park area of Los Angeles in a Herschel backpack, please let me know. But Appies, I'll post it. I'll post it later. Iniko and I, it's because Iniko and I like actually started becoming friends before Summit even.
Yeah.
We started talking about a few weeks beforehand, and so that's why.
So it's like a reality dating TV show. You knew each other before you met on TV.
Yeah. Well, because Iniko, I will be very candid about this. Iniko is by far the easiest player to work with, by a huge margin. He's the only person who replies in the Discord. He's the only person who would DM me if he thought there was a problem, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So considerate. So I went into, I was going into player streams a little bit before the event because I just like wanted to talk it up a little bit and see if anyone wanted to ask me anything or whatever. And is what I do anyways, is watch TFT streams. So I went into Iniko's stream, and Iniko and I actually had like a conversation, and then we started talking more about that, and then we just started like being like, oh my god, Summit's about to happen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah. Ray, Asa, Appies, I love all of you. None of you were as considerate as Iniko in the pre-planning phrase. Ray, you were very helpful. You were very helpful when Iniko was passed out on the beanbags. So you have that to go for you.
Listen. Oh, actually, wait. I have a picture of that. I should pull that up. Can we see this?
Yeah. Yeah,
Wait,
couldn't
a little to
agree
your
more.
left.
Oh,
A little,
there's
wait,
a
little bit over. Yeah, there it is.
picture
There it is.
of
There it is. Perfect.
Iniko wrapped up on a beanbag
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering, this is noon. This is
Yeah.
yeah. This is noon. So Iniko, I mean, listen, Gangly was talking earlier about that you run this 5 times and Iniko could easily win up as your top point scorers. I completely agree with that. I think Nico's points are a little lower than you would. They're actually Bryce low, Iniko. I don't know if you realize this. Oh, I know
Bryce,
you
what do
realize
you mean? Wait, what? That's a high bar, isn't it?
I don't know. I guess Bryce day
No.
2 Bryce is a high bar. I got almost all my points on one day.
It was warm up. It was just warm up. Dude,
but if
I
Iniko,
want to talk about like everything.
I know
Like,
if Iniko's
okay,
not
go ahead.
omega hungover for one of the days, and if he's not kind of deferring to just so he has a lot more points, I think Iniko, people will look back on and be like, Iniko was a middling of the pack player. I just don't think that was accurate with how your form relative to everyone else. I think you were well above middle of the pack.
I'm like so happy with how I played, honestly. Like I think it's a concept that like I touched on already. I honestly wouldn't shut up about it, but like it's a concept that people don't really appreciate about like a group TFT mode is like having one player who's like not afraid to just completely lift up the other person is like, in my opinion, it's so huge.
I agree. Like I was the carry of our team.
Yeah.
And Dan was the support of our team.
Yeah.
But like I don't think I could have picked
just like that
a better person. Like Dish Soap was definitely like a good complementing style. It actually like I told you guys about it. There was like one game where there was a communication error that we had. That was like in that game, I remember like I was thinking like usually people, you know, wouldn't want to do certain things because they want to play for their own games even in a duos mode. And in that game, I kind of like fell to it myself, where I was in like such a good spot. I had like such a high roll like Zed spot, and I was like, I'm just gonna play Zed. And like Dish Soap was like, I need to play Zed, and it's like in some way like I was kind of being stubborn because I didn't want to pivot off. I was like, okay, we can probably just both hit, and it did. Like that was my bad. That was entirely my bad. I should have gotten off. I should have let him have it so that he could recover. But like I was stubborn about it, right? And so that was like a miscommunication, like error of my own like way that I did it. But like aside from that, I think that just running support is like really underrated in group mode in TFT.
Yes, I agree. You know what, Iniko? Because Bryce wanted me to carry and support at the same time. I could not do both. But
unfortunately,
that's exactly what I wanted.
It's
to watch
Bryce. It's very the pre-tournament conversation was about how Dan was going to carry Bryce, and he was definitely. And then if you ever talk to them like in their games, Bryce was like, "No, I have the best angle. Like, trust me." Like,
yeah. And it's okay, but it's really funny because Bryce in those games, whenever I set him up for success, I was always playing from behind, right? Because that was basically what I tried. Bryce tried to play from mid-trick, I tried to play from behind, and Bryce is like, "Oh, okay, as long as you can get like a 6th place, I think we're good. I think I'm like top 2, top 3." And every time he said that, I kid you not, I outplaced him that game, and he goes bot 4.
It was 2 games. It was 2 games where it happened.
Every time.
It was
not every time. It was 2 games, and yeah, I mean, the last one I fucked up. I had a +1 Oxforce and a +1 Renegade, and I didn't know how to cap out the board. It was a double prismatic lobby, and people got really strong. And
it's
like
hard.
for sure,
you
Souless
got dizzy about the Oxforce, right?
It was. I didn't know if it was 6 Oxforce or 6 Renegade. And it was a tough line, and people got really strong in that lobby for sure. And I didn't get healing on my Viego, which was just a huge mistake. I didn't even really think about Gunblade in that spot, but it should have been a Gunblade slam.
It's hard because like. Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, the other time I just was at level 9 and I just kind of missed really hard. And by the time I hit, it was like too late and I fucked up and I had 2 Leonas on my board and I combined my Leona 2 and it literally moved to the back row and it was just fucking over. It was just like, so you're like your carry / main tank is 4th row. This fight's gonna go really well and it went exactly as well as you would think.
I think it's underappreciated like how much you have to like effectively communicate in these games. Both playing your own game, and if you need to ask the other person something, you're disrupting their train of thought like already, and then they need to tell you within like the X amount of time that you have to roll or to position or to like make all your decisions as well. Like I think that duels mode is so good for competitive, like also just like optimization on like how to effectively like be a teammate, you know?
Yeah, and I think as long as all they had to do, in my opinion, was just make it so you can't match against your teammate, and that's it. And I think that would be good because I know the idea of like being able to play against your teammate and like play a weaker board, etc. But I personally think that would be a good thing.
I think that I definitely hear you, but there were some moments of that were really interesting. Like, okay, the only time that Stacks on Stacks Nasus did not go first is when Rain went 7th win it in the final wildcard lobby. And the reason, and she hit her power spike and she was strong enough to potentially go first for sure. But she positioned to not kill Appies that round. And then Appies beat her and killed her instead. Or no. She did not kill Appies, but it was a ghost. It was a ghost, that Appies was fighting. And so she actually lost to someone else and got knocked out. And it was a matchmaking diff, Appies. You're 100% right. But that was like a very, very interesting moment where like Rain probably had a top 2 in that lobby just because she had hit. She was about to she had hit her spike. She was still scaling, but it was really interesting.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think she had went out from that spot.
That spot was actually kind of tough.
It was good, but she hit you behind curve. She was going
to. I have the excuse of like I was in and out of the control room all day. So I just walked in and I was like, oh, she hit. She's going to win.
One thing I think I think we need to talk about with Iniko here is the commentary couch, because I felt like I felt like Iniko, and I told Iniko this at the event. Iniko was born to be on that couch. Iniko piloted that couch better than anybody else at the event that was not just like a professional commentator that was there. Because
I asked Bryce and Dan early on, right? Because I had to figure out a schedule of who could actually like when they were playing run the couch, and Iniko is one of those people. It was like Iniko, Appies, Bebe. Those were the main 3 of like people who could actually run a couch on their own.
And all of those panned out. All 3 of those people were 100% awesome on the couch.
100%.
So there's actually a few things that I was going to talk about. I'm dropping a twit longer at the end of the month, and I'll like it's like going to be like a year in review type thing, and I'm going to talk about Summit a lot. But so the first thing is that I have to get this out of the way. One of the games that you two had to play in, I had to be the host on the couch, and that is so hard, dude. Holy shit. I actually got really lucky because like Dish Soap was very willing to talk, and Phil is just naturally like a really like friendly, like outgoing guy. Like he'll lighten up the mood a lot, and he likes to talk as well. And then Flight 2 is also on there, like, doing his thing. He was always like answering questions and stuff like that, talking about, how it was like to come into the tournament like halfway through. And so I had a lot to like talk about. But dude, I have to give it to you guys, like hosting is so hard. I was so scared there'd be like an awkward silence or like somebody would slip up or something like that. And like I was what's running through my mind the whole time is like Twitch chat just being like, oh, this is so fucking boring, or like, who are these guys on top? What are they doing? Like, I know it shouldn't be going through my mind, but like it was. I was very nervous about that part.
You killed it. I managed to catch a lot of that, and you killed it.
You actually are the one that came in from break, too, right? When you're saying you hosted, you literally are the one that handled it coming in and out of break. And the thing, I don't want to like get too into the weeds with it, because I know there's a lot of other stuff to talk about. But like, I want to give you, your accolades here. That like one of the things that I thought was really cool was it's very easy in that situation to just ask questions, to just throw it off. And one thing that I thought in particular you did really well, Iniko, was that you engaged and then asked a question. Like anytime that you were going to ask something to someone else on the couch, you were always really good about very briefly giving your opinion on something in a way that like sparked a natural answer out of someone else. So I know like, we can say, Disho wanted to talk, Phil wanted to talk, these are talkative people, but I think that you really set people up well. And if that was just like a natural thing that came to you, I think that you really should just own that, because I think it worked out really well.
I think the last thing I'll say is that this follows a pattern at summits, where at summits, like typically one player has a sort of commentary breakout. It's happened to like Ginger and KJH at Smash Summit, very notably. And I think that it always happens. And one thing that also always happens, that happened with Iniko as well, is that the chat gets used to the affect and like humor of a person, like because Iniko has a very dry, sarcastic sense of humor, and I think that the chat got used to it very, very quick, and so you were able to like continue in that vein, and do that. And so this was one of the reasons why when I heard about TFT Summit, it was like, this is gonna be perfect. This is gonna be, if we can get it to happen, like if we can actually get it onto its feet. Obviously, you guys all stream and are just in Discord calls with each other all the time, so like it's just the same thing in a lot of ways. Yeah, it's obviously different, but it's still the same thing.
There are two things that, like, before I go, I do want to talk about. The first thing was like just to follow up with this whole casting thing. A lot of people did reach out to me, and I'm not gonna name all the names obviously, but they weren't just like random people from my chat. They were like people that like I had never seen before in Twitch chat, to like say these kind words, and also like a lot of other casters had DM me on Discord saying like like I'm gonna shout out Impetuous Panda. I was really surprised that he messaged me. He's a great caster as well from EU. And he was saying like I don't know if this is something that like you've practiced or like if it was just intuitive, but like you should really consider pursuing something like this if you're interested in it. And it did mean a lot. Like I really appreciated the kind words. And I think that I told this to like Bryce and Dan briefly, but just to give us like a concrete kind of thing, I do want to try my best in Set 8 to compete, but like it's something that I have in the back of my mind. You know what I mean? Like I'm keeping it kind of in there, just like maybe at some point I can cast. Because it's fun. I liked it a lot. It was a ton of fun just like talking with people. For like an official broadcast, maybe it'll be like a little more nerve-wracking. I don't know, we'll have to see, but it's not like I didn't like practice it or anything. I don't think it was like fully intuition either. I think that like I've just watched a lot of esports in my life, and like I pay attention whether it's conscious or not. Like sometimes it is conscious, sometimes it's not. But like I pay attention to like cues that people give each other like on cast, and how people talk and like stuff like that. And it's like really small stuff that I picked up on just in my life, watching esports, and also like talking to other humans in general. That thing that I do sometimes that people.
I mean,
do
that's just who
sometimes.
you are as a person
Yeah.
too. You're like a thinker. I feel like that's how like the framework that a lot of the way you interact with the world.
Yeah, I'm really.
I say this
like,
having known
an
Iniko for like
observer.
2 weeks, but I
No,
feel
you're
like
totally
it's pretty
right.
accurate.
No, yeah. I think I'm definitely like an observer type person, and I try to think carefully when I can, when I'm allowed to. And I mean, I think that it's a good read to have on me. I mean, we got to know each other pretty well at Summit.
Very
when
well.
I meet when I meet somebody that like I think I think they're like a cool person, like I find some kind of like connection there, like I really do like open myself up like in some kind of vulnerability to them, and like share things that like my own anxieties about the future, or like my own life, stuff like that. And I like to form like real connections like that, and I think that I did find that with Zane. Just to go back on like I do consider Zane like a good friend that I've made from Summit, and I'm really really happy about it. Like if nothing else, like I found a good friend, I had a great time. That's really awesome.
Me too. Post the GIF on your
great.
Twitter, Iniko, because I don't know if I'll be able to
Okay.
show it here. So post it on your Twitter. You guys can
Right,
go
if you
see it.
mean it,
Dakota.
post it. If you mean it, post
I
it.
will.
Dakota, we hope
And then-
you will kiss all our ears.
The other thing that I kind of wanted to segue into, it's not like entirely related, but I really did want to give a big shout out to Souless at the event. I don't think it gets talked about enough, but like Souless had this like if you think about the event as a whole, it was like he got there, and like me and Dishsoap are like the big bad, right? That he has to take down. He goes through the training arc of like every single day until 2 a.m. He's playing all the games. His partner gets COVID, and he has to have Flightsy sub in. And like in the denouement of the whole thing, we're all griefing him. They go 7-8, and then he comes back and wins the whole thing. Like it's actually like any like English majors in here, just write your thesis on this event. Cite Joseph Campbell a lot, like you can do it. The hero's journey and stuff like that. But like Souless actually like was the protagonist of this event, and like and he was like very quiet about it as well. But like he showed up. He did a really good job. I really admire like the amount of work that he put into the event, like just grinding every day, and like not to mention Kerm as well, and like all the other people that stayed late while I was out getting drunk and stuff like that. But like I just wanted to say like, Souless deserved the win. He really did deserve the win. If it wasn't going to be like Dish Soap, it was for sure Souless.
Yeah. Something we didn't talk about with Kiyoon, but it's almost like really good that Kiyoon didn't accidentally rob the event by going 1-1 at the end and having Justin barely off the point threshold for checkmate. Because I think Souless was a deserving winner for sure. It's too fun to talk to Iniko, but
I could
do
go
have
for
more
hours,
guests.
but I
I know you can go for
other
hours.
people, yeah.
We have Appies on deck next, but thank you so much, Iniko. Last words?
Oh, I mean, yeah, like thank you. I know I said thank you a million times, but I really can't thank you guys enough. Dan and Bryce for even pitching this whole thing, Zane for spearheading it, Gangly for coming in with the production, and like everybody on the respective teams of Riot, BTS, and like the solo Gangly mode. Boise's for doing the TO as well. Like everybody,
Yes, big shout out to Boises. He was
everybody did so much for this event to make it what it was. Like you said, I knew that like Summit was going to be amazing. The only there's one negative thing that I have to say about this event, and it's that I am terrified that we will never be able to surpass it because it has this special it was the first TFT Summit. Nothing is ever going to be the first TFT Summit again. So I don't know how you guys can even top it, but I'm sure you will somehow.
I have ideas. I have a notepad full of things to do if we get another one.
I think we need a palate cleanser of everybody coming to TC3 to see what a normal LAN event looks like with no budget, and then we do Summit again next year. It's perfect.
Yeah, it was so amazing.
Let's bring Appies in and watch the skit with him since you guys were both in.
Oh,
with Iniko as well. All right, let's do it. Let's watch it.
Everyone back at the company is very excited to see what you've been working on.
Yeah, we're very proud of our technology.
Fascinating. What are they doing here?
They're playing teamfight tactics, of course. You see, most of them actually used to be pros in other games, but as they got older, their bodies and mind gave out. TFT provides a level of simulation that is very minimal, but very regular. TFT is nature's perfect retirement home.
Ingenious. And they're here all day.
Yeah, we found that 16 minutes of sunlight is perfect for elderly gamers. The skin is fragile.
They're all moving so slowly.
Again, that's why TFT is so perfect. Their APM might be low, but even a geriatric gamer can handle it.
I don't think his tablet's on.
Shh. The roll downs were raising his heart rates to dangerous levels.
No, no, I swear you're making a mistake! Please, I don't belong here! No, I'm not old! I'm 21! I swear! No! No! Me, Meg. No pivot.
Wow, she looks so happy now.
It's hard to admit you're over the hill, but we make the transition as easy as possible.
Who's that?
Oh, him? He's our very first patient. He's been here way before me.
When this was nothing but ocean, before the planet split and forged the earth beneath us, I was here. When void sins ruled the land, I was here. When TFT was just a glimmer in Mortdog's eye, a rumbling in his stomach, a single gray hair in his glorious beard, I was here. I have seen set after set, the beautiful and the broken, the well-balanced and the dragons, and yet I remain in allegiance to one undying hope. NA is winning worlds for sure!
That one was so good. I really I watched it live because they went off script for the ending, right? We had an idea what the script was, but it ended up taking a twist in terms of the editing and the production, the montage, right, of the birth and the afterlife, that kind of thing. It was so. It took me by surprise so much that I actually just burst out laughing till I was point where I was crying, and thank goodness that they went to break, because if they went back to the couch, it'd just be me tearing up from laughter because I was roaring so loud.
This was the script that stayed the most word perfect in terms of what was actually written. I think nothing changed about this script actually in terms of what we wrote and what people actually said. But this was shot and edited by Dan, our head of content, who is a incredible person and also a little bit deranged.
Perfect.
I just walked. He showed me he told me hey, I have an edit of the ending. Do you want to watch it? And so I was in the content room where they're all editing, and I walked in and they showed it. And as soon as the woman started screaming, I spat out my words. Actually spat it out. I could not handle it. Yeah, so good. Dan's twisted mind is exactly what was needed for this. So
love that.
It was so good. Yeah,
we welcome. Yeah, oh man, it was such a good rendition of it. Really well done. We're welcoming Appies, by the way, onto the call. I think Iniko, are you still here as well?
Oh yeah, I was just saying if you guys wanted me to say bye or something.
yeah, that's great. I'm kind of welcoming in Appies.
Hi, Iniko.
Thanks so much, Iniko.
Thanks for having me. All right, take it.
Okay, Appies, we gotta start with this Socks character. So this is probably only.
Oh wait, actually, can I?
Yeah,
talk about
please,
Appies,
actually talk about it from your perspective, please.
Okay, so I've watched a ton of Smash Summits in the past, right? It's the best event every time, and the best part is always the skits. And so it's funny talking about how crazy of a guy Dan is. So at some point I was talking about my favorite summit skit of all time. It's just this 20-minute long thing about Captain Falcon. He's about him being washed and
that was all slime though. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, I said that, and he was like, "Holy shit! No way." He's a very cool guy. The whole skit
great
process
skit.
is really cool.
The skit that Appies is talking about is and Dan's been around since the beginning, but oh man, what is it actually called? This is Slime, the legend, Captain Falcon Beyond the Finish Line, and it's like a 20-minute documentary about him as a washed up.
Got it, Falcon guy.
Wait,
Yeah,
did you
I just
actually run
Yeah,
a
it-
20-minute
It's
on
so
broadcast?
sad.
Did you actually run this whole thing?
There are 2 skits that have been this long. So this played, if I remember correctly,
Holy moly.
it was like the ending of the event. They like didn't run it as a normal thing. They ran it basically like almost in place of a recap or as like a little bonus thing at the end. Probably just because it took that long to edit. There's been 2 skits that have been really long like this. There's this one, and then there's the other one, also an Anthony Bruno Slime production, which is a little bit less long, but History of Smash, which is another great skit where it's just slime and a bunch of people in like
Yes, I've
shitty
watched
costumes in a theater.
Yeah, it's really good. That one's one of my
It's like
favorites.
10 minutes long, so but easier to edit for sure. So that one makes sense.
Okay. Well, Appies.
I'll say sorry. One last thing I want to say. For my money, if I'm Critics' Choice Awards giving Best Actor, Appies was the best actor at Summit. Like I think by a country mile.
We should have asked Iniko.
Appies was so good.
We should have asked Iniko as well.
I couldn't not sweat it out. I think he's out. So the thing is, like, how many summits I've watched? If I knew that if I didn't sweat that shit out as hard as possible, like I'd just be missing an opportunity, right?
Yeah, you knew how good the end product was gonna be. Basically, no one else knew that the end product was gonna be worth.
I think.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I will say, like being there, filming it, and then like we'll like film a little bit, and then I'll be sitting there just like staring at Ray. He'll be staring at me for like 2 minutes, and it is like the hardest shit in the world to not break out laughing the entire time.
I think one of the things that when you're saying,
and then Souless was actually Souless had a picture of Mortdog pulled up on his tablet the entire time, and Asa was just tax.toolsing the set for like an hour.
Wait, Souless just staring at Mortdog the whole time?
Yeah.
Wait,
That's
what?
the
Picture of
difference.
Mort pulled up on the iPad.
Wait,
That's
what?
like he won. He got reverse Mortdog. He was praying to Mort the entire time.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, one person was prepping, Bryce. One person was prepping. The other was on tactics.tool.
We'll have Souless on in a bit, so we can ask Souless about it if this is true.
Yeah, we took a little break. And then he just he pulls up his iPad and he's like, yeah, look at what I was looking at the whole time.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
Okay, I feel like Souless would be the
This
kind of
sucks, guy,
person to do that for a joke, right? Like you would have it open for 15 to 20 minutes.
He's waiting
just
there
so you
for
can say
15
it.
minutes for someone to look over and be like,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
and no
it's
one was
just-
looking over. So
with how much Souless slayed the ramen bit, like you can tell.
Oh my god.
So good. Appies, we have to flame socks really fast.
Yeah, this fucking guy, man. Like, there's no way. There's actually so it's like what, day 3, and Souless is dropping Bryce and I the tech, right? Or like Bryce is playing Viego, and Souless walks up and starts, or like we're talking about it, and then like Souless starts talking about it, and we're asking him questions, right? We're like why do you frontline this? Why do you like Titans and whatnot? And Socks is like, bro, just fucking take the tech, like take the tech, don't ask questions, and then play your game. And we're like, there's no way Socks got as busy as he is without asking questions. I mean, he's just taking like fucking blind tech. There's actually no way.
And Socks is getting like progressively mad about it. By the way, like we're asking, and we're not like we're not challenging Souless, to be clear. We're just like, oh, that's interesting. Why this? Why that? And by the way, some of the answers to these questions were fucking fascinating, because this is how you get Souless to like. And I want to talk about this with Souless on the show, but like he talks about how he thinks of Viego as a drain tank, which is a fascinating way of thinking about this unit that no one else is thinking about this way. But you don't get to that answer if you don't ask them the questions, man. This Socks guy is just getting so mad at us, and Appies and I are looking at each other like, I can't believe that you would be in the situation where you have like the most knowledgeable person off the line. All you want them to do is just give you the answers. Like you don't want them to show their work at all. You're not at all curious about how they reach these conclusions that are different than the rest of the ladder, that are clearly correct. Like, we're all starting from the premise that Souless is the best Viego player in North America. We just wanted to like understand the why behind it. The moral of the story is that Appies and I are right and Socks is wrong. Agree, Appies?
Exactly.
I think
exactly.
I think
and he can't say anything otherwise.
I think it's fitting that Appies is here to talk about
I mean,
voting.
So I think was Souless. Souless was
don't
insane
think
the
he can
entire
hear
event,
me.
right? The way he played the game was just awesome. But I think the way like after talking to him especially, the way I think about it is that like so a player like myself, I think a lot during the game. Souless does most of his thinking before the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
He goes into the game, he's like, I know everything.
Just also occurred to me that I think Appies is like the perfect person to talk about the voting now that we have him here.
Great question, Zane.
That's
Why
a
no one else
great
bring that up?
question. Yeah, so
Appies,
came out of the blue to
unmute me.
me.
Can someone help
Appies,
him hold his
Appies,
hand through
Appies,
this?
You gotta unmute Gangly. You couldn't hear him.
Oh shit! Sorry.
It's funny because that was
I was
Gangly.
like, why is he muted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Gangly, go.
So
Yeah.
sorry.
But Appies is like the one person who's done Smash Summit stuff, so he knows about voting.
Yeah, exactly. And this is something Appies and I have talked about at length because during the voting, I mean, I don't think it's fair to just like flame everybody who opted in because the reality is people didn't know what was going on. But Appies, I'm not going to steal your thunder. There was like a certain line you told me about if you were one of the people that were campaigning for the event.
If I was campaigning for the event, catch me halfway through my 48-hour stream with a shaved head eating a raw onion. Like there's no way, man.
Right.
Yeah.
You just got to go whole hog. You know?
No, but
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'll say this: you guys sucked at the voting stuff, and it's because it's your first summit. Like, obviously, you didn't know, and so it's fine to get in. I see Showtime in the chat saying, "Be honest, Showtime." I'm probably about to tell you what you like to hear. You ran the best campaign of anyone.
Yes.
But wait a second. We have to, as all things, if you're going to compliment Showtime, you also got to give them shit at the same time. Showtime, you fell well below the bar of what would get you into a competitive voting.
I will say you really fucked up in terms of playing TFT to get in. And also if you dropped the resume before, I think he gets in. I think if the resume comes out in campaigning, Showtime takes 1,000 votes easy.
I think a big part of it too is like this is something that Bryce and Dan talked about before, that they had to kind of sell TFT players in general about the event. People had no idea what they were going to be missing out on. If they had seen this event first and then had the chance to opt in, I think this goes completely differently. I think that next summit, hopefully that happens, it's the campaigns are going to go crazy.
Gangly has said on record multiple times that if we had let Gangly opt in, he would have made it, and I actually fully agree with that.
I don't even think it would have been
people
close.
who knows the depraved
the meta
that you have to go to get in. Yeah.
So what you're saying, Gangly, is that Showtime is a true forerunner. Once again, has shown his incredible knowledge of the future and what is important in TFT. So Showtime clearly misunderstood. I will say that I did try to convince him. I was in this chat channels with Clear and Showtime who were trying to like rally people. And man, they really tried. They went to every server, spammed everybody. Dude, Showtime and Clear were DMing like Ludwig and like asking for help from like established content creators. They were begging literally everybody. And at one point, they just gave up. They really tried super hard.
I'll give you the secret tech. I do think if there's another summit, it's gonna get different. And we can talk later about like should there be more vote-ins, et cetera, et cetera. At the next summit vote-in, if there is one, the secret tech is move to New Jersey. I won't say anything more than that. Gangly knows what I'm talking about. Pokygom knows what I'm talking about. Pocky didn't fully use the move to New Jersey tech, but moving to Tri-State, moving to New Jersey, that's the number one thing.
Oh, yeah, I know. Tri-State. So, for example, Pokygom and Voidson were from New York, and because they had been meeting up locally, they made good friends with Milk, and Milk was like their ambassador. So
and Milk basically got them in. I mean, their campaign was okay to weak, but Milk was like, I want to have people on my flight. So every time he streamed, he was like, yo, you gotta vote these guys in.
That stream where Milk actually is watching the vote, like it is literally Dan and I and some other people that are in the chat begging Milk, like, please watch the voting screen. Like, you can't play a game right now. Like,
see Gangly doing that.
Like, it's literally we're all screaming, like all caps, begging Milk, please just stay on this voting screen. Don't talk about anything else besides Pocky and Voids. And if you want them there, you are the reason that they are going to be there.
I was at the Summit studio when this was happening because I was filming an episode of Juiced for XQC, and I was running around just showing everyone. I was like, dude, Clear and Showtime they're one vote ahead, literally one vote ahead right now.
It was bananas.
It was actually a milk diff, 100% a milk diff.
So Appies, we've been asking 2 questions. What was your funniest memory or story that's to tell? And what was the other one, Bryce? Your favorite?
Your favorite moment.
Favorite moment. So your funniest and your favorite moments.
Start with favorite, but I guess a good tie into that is talking about Gangly again, because I also feel kind of bad for having him muted. I presume I talked over it for like a while. So I'm sorry about that.
It was like,
but,
5 straight minutes,
I think
we really enjoyed it for what it was worth.
a big part of my Summit experience was actually like hanging out with Gangly, right? 'Cause, like, so I think I had I'm not like a super, also like he just goated out on the whole production thing. Like he made like the little sense of milk popping up saying like I like rolled for Underground 2-1 one time and he had this little thing pop up with like, you know, like the capital lowercase thing of like, you shouldn't roll on 2-1. I went 7th, so you shouldn't have. But yeah, exactly. So he just awesome production, but yeah, I think a lot of my event, right? So I'm not a person who's like, I'm like pretty shy in person. I'm not super good at like meeting new people or talking to people. And Gangly was like my fucking rock man. Like this guy, like whenever I felt like I needed to just like talk to someone I was like very familiar with and very comfortable with, like right off the get go, like from day one, right? It was Gangly, and I made a lot of great friends like Zane and you guys who I met in person for the first time. I think Zane's probably the person I met for the first time who I would consider.
Yeah, we did.
Appies
and I did get close. If Appies and I had been talking before Summit, then Appies photo would have made the cut. Sorry.
Listen,
Appies.
if there's no Iniko at Summit, Appies, then you are his favorite person. But
such good friends, you almost made his Twitter post.
Yeah, almost.
Close. No, but like I met someone, like there are a lot of people who I know, like I talked to like Dan and Bryce all the time beforehand, and Nico and people, right? So I feel like I became better friends with them, and I was already good friends with them. But like Gangly is a person who I feel like, Boise as well. Huge shout out to Boise, because Boise was an absolute homie, and my favorite memory is actually
he's not from Idaho.
Boise is, yeah. I always call it Boise on stream, and he's sorry, it is
He's
Boise.
very kind about mispronunciations of his name, both his tag and his real name.
Yeah, too kind, honestly. And so like there was like a morning crew, as it was Gangly, Boises, Mort, and I. And we get there like the ask, or like the TFT equivalent of the ask crack at dawn, right? And we like stream, we'd hang out, like Gangly play games on my stream, I'd backseat him. Like Bebe came in and backseated at one point. At one point we also set up like a super fucking scuffed setup. We had an ultimate setup, Smash Ultimate setup. And I stacked 3 pillows on top of a chair and then like precariously leaned my phone on those 3 pillows so that chat could watch Mort and I play Ultimate for like an hour, which was awesome. But like that whole morning crew, like the first 2-3 hours of the day were so fun every single time. It was
I'm sad I
huge
missed
part
that.
to
Yeah.
It was super fun.
Yeah, you deep
and,
Bryce will sleep in till the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? These kids, these youths are keeping me up till 2 a.m. every day. I can't also be up and be there at 7 a.m.
I would say that's my best memory. That was like my, like a get me ready for the day kind of thing, Like I'd have like my like social recharge station kind of.
I think I would usually be the first person to come in and see you guys afterwards, because I would show up early to do production stuff, and it was pretty evident that like just how like close you guys were getting and how chill it was, and like that it had become a routine. It was cool. But yeah, I mean, you guys were there before me every day too. You were there as soon as the streaming setups opened. Poor Rachel, who had to show up at 7 a.m. to just watch Appy's stream. Okay, she went home early.
Huge shout out to Rachel for
Rachel is amazing. Rachel's one of the
was
unsung heroes of this
super
event.
awesome.
I do want to say really quickly, Rachel is the project manager on the event. So like basically, like she's in charge of overseeing everything and making sure that like I'm getting what needs to get done on time, and everyone else in the company is. And also like when I was really in the weeds and needed to just be doing a lot and like writing a lot, Rachel's the person who like in the Discord was answering questions and writing our Know Before You Go handbook, and like was the point of contact for players if they had any questions like that. And yeah, event was super. She was the person I collaborated with most closely by far. You guys didn't see her around a lot, but she's great. Rachel's amazing.
I know.
Rachel, thank you.
I think one of the really cool things about Summit is like it actually is sort of this hyperbolic time chamber of friendship in a way, right? Like you spend so much time with people for so many days in a row. Like literally it was every single time that I came out of the production booth, it was like, oh, I head over to see Appies, like see what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And Appies made this comment throughout the weekend. It's like, man, I feel like we've only met each other twice in person, but it feels like we spent 4 years in college, like rooming together, right? There's something about like this community, just seeing each other in stream every day, like going to an actual LAN event. We've had the privilege of seeing each other twice, at TC2 as well, and then this where like it is so special to have that moment where you finally get to see your friends on LAN, and it feels like those friendships, those bonds that you've been developing over the last couple years of TFT's inception really form and bond incredibly tightly when you actually see each other in person. So, right back at you, buddy. It was a wonderful weekend.
They were already close enough that they were like flaming each other the entire weekend. Like every time there was a Mafia game, they wanted to kill each other or said like, I just want to kill Gangly. But yeah, so very clear how much it strengthens the bonds. The fact that they were actively flaming each other.
Can I want to...
You know what the joke of the week was?
Oh, go for it.
Wait, are we gonna say the same thing? We're totally gonna say the same thing.
No, you go.
It's fucking. We would be playing Melee together or something, and he'd do this to me. He just turns around and acts like someone's there. And literally at least 10 times, I just looked. Like maybe in the middle of the game, I'd look and he'd fucking kill me.
Like as soon as he starts comboing me, immediately he starts a combo. I like turn around to like get him to stop his combo midway. Well, I was gonna say,
you're dirty, dude.
Oh yeah. No. We play. This is street ball. We're not playing by the book. What I was going to say, though, Appies, is final day. Everyone's running around. I'm trying to get pictures with everybody. And I asked Appies to take a picture of Ray and I think it's what it was, or Asa and I, something like that. And Appies takes this picture, and it is like the worst picture I've ever seen someone take, ever. And Asa's right next to me, and he is not all there. He is, whatever. He's in a different state of mind. And I'm like, oh man, like, can you retake this? And Asa's like, let me do it. And I'm like, Asa, you're drunk. Like, I don't think I want you to take this picture. And he's like, no. It's one thing. And the way he says, I remember, he's like, it's one thing. If there's anything I can do, it's this one thing. And I'm like, all right, fine. I give Asa my phone. And then he gives the phone to Appies and then takes a picture with me. And at the end of the day, though, drunk Asa still took a better picture than Appies. So worked out. When we finally,
Asa's in chat swearing he was sober.
I think it was rigged.
But now he's saying I don't remember that, so I don't think he was sober.
He was definitely not sober. He was yeah.
That's too funny.
You know what? I was just too close. I was basically zoomed in on their faces. Was the issue. I think the funniest thing was So as Morris, another person I think I got to know really well over the course of the event, and who I came out with I think Morris probably one of the people that I vibe with the most over the course of it, right? Because he was very chill and we got along really well, and so we commentated a lot of times together, right? And I forgot what day it was, but at some point we were commentating together, and I feel like we're kind of tossing back and forth, trying to ask questions and hosting. Mostly Mort though. He was a beast on the couch the whole week. He was an absolute insano person. I don't know what that means, but anyways. So at some point we're in the middle of the game and Mort's talking about the Little Legend meta, and he's talking about Baron Nasher Little Legend, how it eats a big piece of meat. And I don't know why, but I'm like, oh yeah, Mort's talking about his big ass piece of meat on on broadcast. And I say that out loud, something about that.
On the couch.
Wait, am I allowed to say that? Yeah, is that something So that was probably the funniest moment for me. I think hopefully it just kind of disappears in the annals of some
I
history.
hope not. Someone's
how
do you see this?
In the annals of what?
Anyways.
I think it's totally fine. Summit's perfect
awesome
for those kinds of environments, and I won't tell anybody that you were very aggressively hitting on Mortdog on stream.
Yeah, don't tell his wife.
Oh, I think if... there was this weird moment too where I was talking about Belvet's feet, but that was a different thing, I guess. Anyways, something was awesome. It was really fun.
Sure.
Tentacles. There's tentacles there. I looked.
Oh, okay.
I made
Let's change the topic.
All good.
Yeah.
All good. All right, Appies. We don't have much time left. We already got your favorite. We got your funniest. Whoa! The last thing. What was it like to team with Rain? Real quick. That was your teammate for the event.
Oh, Rain was fucking awesome. We had such a fun atmosphere when we teamed. There were actually a bunch of moments. Don't make her feel bad about that, or don't tell her about this. She might feel bad. Where I'd go over to fist bump her, and she just wouldn't notice. So I'd be like that for a second, and then she just wouldn't notice. So but besides that,
wow,
it was just super fun. We were super. Yeah, we were on the same wavelength the whole time. We were just trying to have fun and enjoy it.
Those fist bumps.
Yeah.
No, it really was.
Tiebreakers.
I will say, I expected. So the TFT side of things, quick aside, I didn't go in trying to sweat super hard or anything, right? I was playing a lot of Pokemon. That's the joke. I was playing a lot of Pokemon before the event, and I was playing him on PvP, but not a ton. But I think I think my relationship with Set 7 is pretty known at this point. But Summit like really made me love TFT again. Like, not that I didn't love it anymore, but like it really showed me why I love TFT, and I am so fucking ready to get back on the horse in set 8.
Awesome.
It's
Can't
gonna
wait,
be a
man.
good set for you, man.
It's gonna be great.
We were talking earlier about doing preseason rankings for set 8, and I don't know if we will do them, but if we do them, you're going to be on my top 5 for sure. I'm planting a flag. Appies is popping off this set. Set 8 is
Let's go.
Like, it feels like it's custom built for this man. By the time he actually sinks
all
his
the
teeth
reasons
into
that
it.
7 was not good for Appies are like
Literally.
that are good about set 8 that make it.
Yeah. Only all things I got home is play TFT. It's been fun. So
amazing.
All right.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much for joining in. We're gonna have Souless come on next.
The champ is here.
The champ is here.
Hello, Mr. Souless.
See Appies.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
He's here.
What's up, man?
Soulless.
Oh, I am so tired. Have been awake for 20 hours.
Are you gonna go to bed after this?
Oh, probably.
Okay. Socks has specially requested that for your interview we ask you no questions. So if you want to just give a monologue, stream of consciousness about the event, fire away.
Oh, sure. Well, I was thinking about like the main question, like the happiest moment, the funniest moment. Oh, I had so many. I couldn't decide. But probably like I feel like kind of bad for Kerm because he missed out on like the whole event after day 1. But like my best moments is actually with Kerm. So like on the first day, like Kerm told me to come to his room because I just arrived at the hotel, right?
Oh.
And then he gave me like a big hug when I knocked on the door, right? And then he locked himself out full naked with his boxers on. And then we had to go down to the lobby to get him another key. And then we're just talking about like the TFT in the elevator to make it not awkward.
Wait a second. Why didn't
So
you just
he was
go get a
naked
key?
in the hotel?
Wait,
Yeah,
why did you leave him in the hallway and you go get the key?
Oh no.
Because he
Well,
has
like,
to. He has to.
it's his
It's a
room.
different
Wait,
room.
it's his room, but how does he show ID if he's naked?
Oh wait. Oh, he can. I should have got that for him, but like he went down there anyway. Just like
Yeah.
You just marched this guy down to the
Yeah.
lobby in his boxers for
Was
fun?
anyone else there? What was this?
Oh no, it was like 1 a.m. in the morning, so like
Yeah,
no one
I
was
know.
there.
How am
luckily.
I just hearing this story? Like,
Yeah,
did
wow,
anyone hear
I
this
did not
story?
notice that at
Wait,
all.
yeah, it was
How
in
did you guys keep
Discord.
this
It
under
was like
wraps?
Okay,
it
well,
was-
Kerm couldn't tell us. Kerm couldn't tell the stories. It was on Souless to tell us.
No, it was
Yeah.
like
Oh,
all
yeah.
caps in the Summit Discord at like 1 in the morning. I remember because Appies and I like landed or got to the hotel, and then like half an hour later, Souless is like, "I'm trapped at the airport. I don't know where to go. Can someone help me?" And then like an hour after that, either him or Kerm are like, "I'm completely naked in the hotel, and I have to go get another key now."
I'm searching right now in the Discord.
Yeah, I'm searching. I see.
If you went earlier, you could have seen Kurum naked.
Yes.
That's
Oh, so
all I
above
see,
it, you
though.
ask you see Kerm asking Souless, "Did you make it? Come to room 409." And then
had to
Souless
read
says, "Bro,
between the
I'm room
lines.
509."
You got any chopsticks?
Oh wow!
Oh yeah,
all
I
right.
was so hungry when I got there, so I just like I saw the microwave. I was like so happy.
I love that.
So as I have to say, one of the moments of the entire event, like, okay, you know, it was stated earlier, and it is true. I, from the production side, was fully rooting for you to go 7th, 8th, because I did not want you guys to just sweep the lobby. Like, that's how it felt. But so sorry for that. But I think one of the things that made it most entertaining and like made it so great is when you came down and were just utterly unfazed by it, and we're like,
yeah,
fuck it, we're gonna win anyways. How did it actually, like, were you actually just like, fuck it, we're gonna win because you've been popping off the entire time?
I mean, I feel like we were 2 points ahead,
Yeah.
and in TFT, you know, when it's super close, people start shaking, and then I'm not the type of person to shake, and you know, Kerm, I've denied him every single win in the entire tournament,
Yeah.
so I was keeping him hungry, you know, I counted him to perform well.
That's awesome.
Oh my god.
That was great. You were just such a good sport about it. And even like, I mean, the ramen thing. Oh my god. Okay, so here's the behind the scenes. I told a little bit about this, but maybe people didn't hear all of this.
Go for it.
So obviously, Souless was on. There was the Souless station, right? There was this one computer that was Souless's computer. Souless was the only person on it the entire time. He was grinding, but he had agreed to do this talent show. And you guys know that from the beginning, I said this was my favorite talent. It was the one I was by far the most excited to show. And the way it was pitched was Souless is going to microwave 2-minute ramen in 1 minute. He's going to make it in 1 minute instead of 2. And Souless had a whole plan about it. And we're like, fine, we're going to get you a microwave. You'll do it. Bada bing, bada boom. It'll be okay. 5 minutes before the talent show, we are trying to get the microwave into place. And the glass rotating plate in the microwave slips out, and it's a big plate. It's like this big, and it shatters all over the crowd.
Oh.
And then we
that
tried
was
to
a
microwave
crazy-
the popcorn in there, and it stunk to high hell because it's not rotating
turned,
at all, right?
yeah.
So we said, no, we can't do this anymore. And so everyone is yelling. We're supposed to have started the talent show already. Souless is just standing there, and we're like, I don't know, maybe we'll do something else. We'll like heat up the ramen, blah blah blah, whatever. We'll do it like this. And Souless just goes, oh yeah, don't worry, I got it, bet. And we're like, okay, sure, yeah. I mean, I think we all know the plan. He walks back out. He comes back in for the talent show when it's his time. And for anyone who saw it, Souless did not need any guidance. Holy fuck, he killed it. That was the funniest thing. It's so incredible.
Oh, the setup is so good. Okay, so what ended up happening was the talent show was that Souless was going to do 2-minute ramen in 1 minute, right? And that's impressive. But he ends up going on stage. I say, okay, Souless, take it away. He says, okay, here you go. Oh, you have the clip. We can play the clip.
I'm
Oh,
assuming
yeah,
it's
let's play it,
called
play it, play it,
Souless
play it.
Instant Ramen, so I'm assuming this is correct.
Yeah.
The impressive thing about what's going to happen is that Souless is going to do ramen, which usually takes 2 minutes to prepare, but he's going to show you how to do it in 1 minute. If Souless is here. Oh, here you go, Souless.
Hello.
All right. Okay, so I was setting it up while waiting for you. Is that correct, what I'm understanding?
Oh, yes. But originally, it was going to take 1 minute. But since the hotel was kind enough to provide me a microwave, I've been practicing for 2 days. And it will no longer require 1 minute.
Oh, so how long is it going to take?
Instant.
Instant noodles. All right, well, Souless, take it away.
Boom.
Wait, what?
Oh.
All right, that's all I got.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And then that was hot. That was hot
Dude.
ramen. But the fact that he was like, I got it, like you have to understand 5 minutes before this, he did not know what he was doing.
Man,
And then-
knowing
and
that
then
backstory makes it 10 times better for me. I can't believe that.
Then they make Mort eat it, and it's piping hot ramen, so he takes like a bite, and it's too hot, so he like spits a bunch of it back into the thing, and then he like. I thought they were gonna make like other people eat it for a second. I was like, oh please, God, please stop.
Well, Souless, I just gotta say, like for me, Giga Chad got spammed a lot. This was the Giga Chad moment for me. This was incredible.
Wow, I'm so glad.
Oh yeah, I was super nervous about the talent show, so like I can't prepare like with like 3 different scripts in my notepad.
Wow.
This guy's such a smurf.
Oh my goodness. Like we said, he does all the thinking before the game. When it's game
Exactly.
time,
Yeah.
just lets it
All he has to do
fly.
is deliver. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Okay, most of this thing is like obviously we're having a good time, we're joking around. I want to have like one serious moment tonight, right? Because I want to talk about Souless as a TFT player, and Gangly is for sure gonna want to piggyback on it.
Yes,
Yeah,
Gangly's gonna.
I've been waiting.
Do you know this man is the president of your fan club? Like, have you know that, right? At this point.
Oh yeah, you
Okay.
know like the end of the set tier list, like player tier list.
Yeah.
I saw like I got 1 point. I was like,
Yeah, it
like,
was
who
Gangly.
voted me? Cause and then I had to check Gangly's list. Like even though I went 16 L 16 LCQ, Gangly still put me on his list. I was like, oh my god, what a homie.
Yeah,
Leaving
this
me
guy-
till the end.
He does. He believes in you that much. Okay, but so here's the thing. Like, I've been critical of your play at times in the past, but I think I've also been complimentary of your play. And I think what a lot of people miss as it relates to you is that you're one of the best players that makes big mistakes. And so, like, you watch a VOD and you will make a large mistake. And I think it's very easy for other kind of high tier players to then discount your play as a result of that. But this event, Gangly and I geeked out about this afterwards. So I want to say some of this, but I don't want to steal all of Gangly's thunder here. But like, we felt the exact same way about, which is that this event really showcased what makes you special as a player. In particular, I'm really glad I asked those questions when you're backseating me, because I got to go into your brain on the Viego line And it was so fun. Like, you thinking about Viego as a drain tank is fucking brilliant. It's a unit that's built around execution, but doesn't do enough damage to initially execute a lot of the time. It often re-aggro, so it needs to be able to survive the re-aggro. And then if it does that, because doing AoE damage is going to go infinite. So really what that unit's about is like getting into the face of the team, taking a bunch of damage, and being able to do damage through that and sustain through that. It is a drain tank. No one else was thinking about this unit that way. And I'm so glad you won this tournament, because it's really easy, I think, for a lot of high-level players to discount your play and what you bring to the table, but I just feel like you bring a lot to the table. You've always been one of my favorite players to watch, because you find your edge in places that most people aren't even looking for it. And I'm so glad you won this tournament, and I'm so glad you did it in this fashion.
Yeah, I do want to piggyback off this, and I'll keep it brief, because largely what I was thinking is a lot of what Bryce was saying. I think the point I really just want to drive in here is that for a very long time, I think if you asked someone what edge does Souless have over the field, many people, I would even say most people, would not be able to give a succinct answer of what actually makes Souless better than the field. And I mean that like in no disrespectful way. I think a lot of people had a hard time understanding, but I think that did come alive at Summit. And I think the best way to describe it is that at Summit, we had a field full of people looking to external sources to figure out how they could get an edge. And Souless, I felt, was one of the very few players who was looking internally and actually came up with a game plan of his own that he felt was correct, even if it was not something that was established already in other parts of the game. And I think that people talk about early set Souless, and I think it's largely for a reason. I think there's a reason in set 1 why we had this comp named after Souless, right? Like there's something about Souless where I think that your edge over the field is that you are a critical thinker in of yourself, and you don't need the rest of the field. Now, obviously, I think you can make a judgment that a part of that is also the reason why you may make some of those ridiculous mistakes as well, but I think that is the edge, and I think it was really, really cool that we finally got to see that come alive in a live tournament setting. And for us who were there and got to hear that Viego spiel, it was so satisfying to see it come to fruition in the final day.
I'm happy Nick gets to talk, because he was screaming in the control room about how he wanted to run onto the mic and have his moment. So I'm glad he gets to have it here. But I do want to hear. I want to hear from Souless. Souless, tell us about like how you were feeling going into the tournament. You said you were super prepped, and then how that developed as you saw your strategies like start to succeed.
Oh yeah,
you know, how you felt.
Shout out to Mortdog, because this set actually reminded me a bit of set 1. Because if you guys didn't realize, Viego is exactly like Aatrox, but with better AI. Oh, yeah. He's a drain tank that, as long as he survives against cast off, that entire enemy team will die. So I went to PBE to play with my viewers, and I was distracted and went with Fast 9, but like I keep paying attention like how often I get to play this Viego unit. And I think near the end of PvE, I was spamming a lot of Viego, and I think people started to notice. So I didn't want to put it out in the first day, and that's why we didn't do that well the first day. But shout out to my viewers, because without them, I could have gone like 1-1-1 in the tournament, because I was also playing in the sweat lobby, right, to practice. There was like Iniko, Rain, and a bunch of other sweats. And I actually went 1-1-1, 3 wins in a row. And I was really confident going into the tournament.
I remember leading up to the tournament at like 1 a.m. every night getting the Soulless Bees Kingdom notification where you went live and started playing viewer games.
But yeah, oh yeah, for like every day, I swear like it's the best moment I had, but like I somehow managed to wake up all 5 days with like basically no sleep, because we had to stay up till 2 a.m. if we want to play. And then I signed up for like most of the event, and the event was like super early in the morning. So I just drank 2 Red Bulls every time I come to the studio, and
attack.
Yeah, try to function. And then I just see people passing out on the bean bags. The best moment was like it was actually in game 6. So actually, I was watching Iniko suffering, and I was laughing at the same time. I saw his board. He had 7 set. I forgot to scout and deny him set in carousel.
Yeah.
And this guy was so close to Zed and set. I was like, fuck. Why did we throw? Why did we go 7-8? Like in my mind, I was like booming. And then I saw a miss and went like 5th or 4th. And man, I was so relieved that we didn't throw like the biggest lead ever. We were like,
yeah, actually,
he rolled
can you talk
50
about
gold
Game
and
5?
He needed 1 set or 1 Z. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk
Oh.
about Game 5.
So
Talk,
game
talk about Game
5.
5, yeah.
Oh,
A
I
little
could
bit. What was
easily
going
won
through your
game
head?
5. Like, won through game 5 because I only played Samira that game because I wanted to play for 6. I didn't want to play risky because I'm like the riskiest player. So I trusted Kurum to also play for like a 7, you know? Or like a 7 or 6. And then this guy went the hardest 8th, and I was scared as fuck. I wanted to roll down. I was like, I think it was like, it was not even a perfect interval, and I leveled. I just keep power leveling, like try to continue my streak. And I had to roll on 7 because I want to just maintain HP, right? Because Dada looked like he was tweaking out. And I think that playstyle change made me play worse because if you're thinking about like play for 7 or 6, you have maximum get a 7 or 6. You shouldn't be playing for that. You should always aim for top 1, and then maybe you end up higher on average. So I'm never changing my playstyle again. Like even if it's like I need like 2 points to make it, I'm not changing my playstyle. I'm just gonna play for win every game.
I love it. I love it. That's crazy.
There's a story that Appies always talks about. He talked about it on the Triforce Tactics podcast a lot, where it's like if you're riding a bike and you see a pebble in front of you, and all you're thinking about is that I need to dodge this pebble, you're always going to run into the pebble. You're always going to hit it, right? And it did feel like that is exactly what happened in Game 5. All you're playing for is not 7th, not 8th, and that's exactly what happened.
As for my playstyle, I think a lot of people view it as a wrong playstyle because they feel like they want to make optimal play, right? Like they know the math behind everything, and then they know this move could be wrong or like could hinder your odds. But I believe in the high roll. Like I'm a high roll enjoyer. I like to power level and find 5 costs, 4 cost carries early and get an advantage. So when I level off interval with like 1 cost pair, 2 cost pair, it's not because I'm griefing. It's because I feel like if I don't put myself in a spot to high roll, I'm not gonna high roll, and I'm just gonna be in the same field as the rest of the players.
That is the difference between Souless and everybody else that you all put as rank 15 at set 7. They're not high rollers.
And yet you look over, he's playing double trouble Viego. He's at level 6 and he has 2 Viegos at Krugs. Like this is exactly the Souless method.
Souless, if you didn't watch it, you need to go back and watch your roll down when you offered Talia 2 on 4-1.
I watched
and you
it.
cast it. Oh, okay. Because Mortdog dies before our eyes, and it is the funniest shit I've ever. It is so. We
need caster cam.
So much. Yeah. Oh yeah. Next to event thing, caster cam. Actually, like camera of the couch would be really good
if possible. I know we're stacking demands on you, but moments like Mortdog dying, moments like Souless gets 6v2 in grief,
moments like Gabe and Milk coming down to argue with each other in the middle of a game, like being able to actually see them
we
on
could at least
camera.
do a picture-in-picture or something. There's some other overlays I built too that we just wanted to make sure that the broadcast was as clean as possible. Dealing with some stuff like
sure.
like Three's Company being a silver augment on day 1 and not having any of the built diff augments in the list, and so a lot of it was just like, let's make sure that all of that is functioning first. But we had stuff like like head to head. Also, I want to say quickly, just while we're on this topic, shout out to Wisdom, shout out to Natures, and like everyone from Wisdom who were so kind and like respectful, because they also run so many events, and so we're technically competition, I guess, if we're doing this, but it did not feel like that at all. They were just so happy to see the event, so happy to be there. Natures was so happy to play Mafia, and we couldn't have done this without them, in that like all our overlays are built on what they do, like we just like a lot of it is just reskinning what they do, and that's what Riot told us to do. But that's because Wisdom came up with a lot of that, our pregame stats and everything. Like their broadcasts have laid the foundation for what the competitive part of the broadcast should actually be. So like very, very indebted to them. I do want to make that clear.
Thanks, Wisdom.
Thank you, Wisdom.
Oh yeah, I have a question.
What's up?
Do you guys have like the player comms?
We couldn't hear them, no. I think we could have if we wanted to, but it would have been
I feel like
really,
it'd be
really
so fun.
That's on our wish list, Souless.
Like have like highlights of player comms. Like
I think next time, if there's a next time, we'll have an ability to at least patch in the player comms, or probably just like have a room mic, because I think what you probably want to hear is just people like yelling anyways, and that's the most interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like,
it was good that you guys used
like...
chat. The chat made it good. Actually, one of the benefits of having 2 separate rooms is that like people were chatting, so we could see that.
Yeah, like me and Kurum had like the best chemistry. We just nonstop arguing and then trolling each other in the voice comms. And this guy, he was tilting so hard, and I feel like my kind of communication helps him untilt because I don't tilt with him. It's kind of like this of an Iniko kind of. I feel like
Interesting.
I don't think that at all. Which out of curiosity, which one of them doesn't
Who's
tilt?
the non-tilter?
Oh no. I feel like Iniko actually have great mental. They're
Yeah,
like not put this up. Low key.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can
that's
see
true.
that. I can see that. I can see
That's
that.
actually
Nico
true.
does have great mental from what I've seen. He whines as a way to keep his mental high, right? Like
Yes.
that's what he does.
Yes, I agree with that.
Interesting.
I think that's spot on analysis from Zane.
Our comms was me trying to make sure Bryce isn't tilt too. Bryce gets really mad over some decisions or mistakes that he makes. I'm just like, that's all good.
Oh, that was only one time. It was the end of the game. I was already dead.
No, it was definitely it's one time that you remember. It happens so often. Okay, this is why we need comms, Zane.
We need this. I need the evidence.
Evidence that this Bryce guy is low key a tilter.
Listen, the only important thing as relates to you and me at this tournament was the scoreboard, right? I think we can all agree that.
No, it's our scoreboard. We're not competing against each other. We're competing against everyone else. I need a new teammate, man.
Yeah.
Unlucky. Not to get too distracted, but Souless, we do have Ray as our last guest, and we need to also wrap up the podcast. So thank you so much. Any last words that you want to say about Summit or anything else?
Oh, it was a really fun event, and I'm hoping for another one. And wait, did me and Kerm get like a guaranteed invite since we're defending champion?
Guaranteed.
Guarantee, but Souless, like it's hard for me to envision if we're doing if we're running this back that we don't include you, right?
I would imagine that you probably would if we did.
Yeah.
All right, bet. All right.
I'll
see you guys later.
Sounds good.
Congrats again.
So we have Ray joining us next. Rayditz, are you there?
Yo, hello.
Yo, Ray, what's up, man?
Okay, can I just start off by flaming someone?
Yes, yeah, of course.
I want to flame the Zane guy.
I had a
feeling.
Oh, hit me.
Okay,
but
so the last
I have a response prepared.
Okay. The last day of Summit, we're all chilling at someone's hotel room, right? And I'm pretty drunk. I don't know if Zane's drunk, but a lot of people in the hotel room are drunk. And I have like this passion. We had this passionate one-on-one talk.
I knew this.
Me and Zane, and we bond. And he's like, I think you are probably my second favorite person at Summit behind Mortdog, Ray. And I'm like, really?
That's not what I said. Okay.
You said that?
That's not what I said.
No, he said.
Wait, let my client finish his opening statement. Then you will have the opportunity to respond.
Okay. What I said and what I meant to say, and let me clarify it because the feeling is still very true. I am not just saying like everyone is my favorite. I want to be clear about that. And Nico and I bonded for sure, but Ray, you made me feel like at the event, you were the person who most lifted me up and was like a ray of light. A ray of light in my life. That's what I meant because you and Mortdog were the two people who, when I walked around and they saw me, would be like, "Hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? Do you need my help with anything?" Mort was doing that constantly, but Ray also, whose only duty is to be there as a player and like to entertain and compete, would just constantly be down to talk and then like check how I'm doing and have a conversation. And that's why I meant, and you are one of my favorites. You are one of my favorites. But what I meant is that like in terms of people who made me feel good during the event, you of the players, I think, when Iniko's light was a little dim for various reasons, your light was always shining very bright, Ray.
Yeah. I was just kidding. I just wanted to like put you on the spot.
No. I knew you were gonna come in here. I knew you were gonna come here and immediately talk because I didn't want to lead you astray, Ray. I didn't want to lead you astray. That conversation we had was real. Don't let the alcohol trick you.
No, but I actually have so much respect for Zane. Like after Summit, I only had one regret, and that it was I didn't get a one-on-one picture with Zane.
Only two people have that. It's Iniko and Appies. Yep.
Bryce and Dan, do you guys remember day one we aired a bunch of player cards that had fun facts?
Yeah.
Did you know that Ray helped Zane and I write? Like we basically
Zane,
did.
Oh, really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
A bunch up front prior to the event. We wrote a bunch, and then the day of, I think it might have been Michelle. So someone was like, "Hey, can we make something that's like a bunch of lies about people instead?" And then we both were just like, "Let's go talk to Ray." And we went over to Ray, and Ray sat down and wrote out facts about everybody.
Really,
wait, did Ray come up with Pokygon watches anime?
Yes.
He did.
Wait, what? I don't know. Can you explain?
No.
I don't know this.
I came up with I don't know. I didn't come up with the dubbed part. I think maybe that was someone. I think it was either Zane or Gangly. But I said like we should do something about anime. and then someone changed it to Dub. I forgot who changed it to
It
Dub.
wasn't you? I thought it was you.
Wasn't
Oh, wait.
Voices sitting there too? Maybe he came up with it.
It might have been me. I have a really bad memory. I'm like
I
famous
think
for
you
my bad
probably
memory.
it sounds like you, Ray. But yeah, because initially we had all of these stat cards of like a bunch of interesting stats, obviously, and then like a little fun fact trivia that Gangly had come up with, and those were great, and those went out on social media on our Twitter, and you can go see them there. But like they didn't fit in the graphic, you know, because it's so long to explain a TFT stat.
That's what it was.
And so we were just like, okay, let's just make them all lies and just have a bunch of dumb shit for all of them, which I think was great. And yeah, Ray was the one.
Great. And
But
we did
yeah,
not
it was
know,
actually
so when
so
they came up,
funny.
it was amazing.
When the Pocky one came up, Pocky was actually sitting right next to me. He
was like, "No, I don't."
I didn't. Who wrote that? That's a lie.
Real quick, guys, we have a surprise guest who is offering to join us. Milk, who raided the channel, wants to hang out on this call to just kind of do it with Ray in tandem. All right,
Milk.
we're gonna have Jeffrey Pan join us.
Whoa.
Oh, Milk, can you hear us?
People, hey.
Monk.
Hello.
People, hey. I've never heard that one before.
Oh. People, hey.
Nice. Well, Milk, we're going around just kind of talking about our summer experiences. Ray talked about some of his things. He started off the gate flaming somebody, so I guess I'll ask
I think
you.
the
so
flame
right
is
after that.
I think
Who's
he
flaming Zane?
totally removed the formal accusations. So I think
Yeah.
I see.
I resend.
Okay. So, Milk, talked about your summit experience. What was it like?
Oh, I was gonna ask for Zane for his something. I feel like he was talking about how like good Ray was. I feel like I was doing the exact opposite. I was asking him questions, tell him like, can I leave the studio and come back last second? You know. And like, yeah.
Okay, on day 0 or like day -1 before media day, when everyone got in, we were all hanging out in the hotel. We all they kicked us out of the hotel because people were sleeping. So we went out and hung out in like the parking lot, right? And we're just talking, waiting for everyone to get in, et cetera, et cetera. Milk had actually gotten there before us, and they had gone out and gone to Walmart and got a bunch of supplies and snacks and everything. And then when he came back in, I introduced myself. We were standing by the elevators, and I said, "Hey, Milk, I just want to say hi. I'm Zane." And he went, "Oh, I'm sorry for making your life so much harder." And I went, "Milk, no, it's okay. You bring a lot of levity into my life." And he went, "What's that word?" And then I explained
what that word is. What the fuck is levity?
Yeah, I had to explain what levity meant to Milk, and that was our
Okay,
first
probably
real
no one here knows what that
interaction.
word means.
But do they know where Mexico City is?
Okay, I mean,
Real question.
okay, honestly, I don't think they know where it is actually. Like on the map, they know it's Mexico, but like they don't know where it is.
It's more than you knew, Milk.
That's true. You are learning. We'll step-by-step process, buddy. All right, Ray, and then Milk. Tell us the funniest moment at Summit for you.
Okay. My funniest moment was one night we went out to drink, and then Dim Dam Sun, who didn't drink at all, wanted to drive us back, and we're like, "Oh yeah, bet." And so then he drives me. So in the front row it's Jane, and then in the back row it's Ferris, me, and Kiyoon, and then we're completely full, right? And P God wants to join the ride with us, but it's completely full. Like each seat is filled up, right? So he says, "No, it's fine." And he just lays face down along the back seat, along all three of us. So it's like his face is like down in Ferris, and then like his middle part is on me, and then like his lower torso is on like Kiyoon, right? And then somewhere like in the car ride, someone says "duck ass," like the emote, and P-God starts twerking on Kiyoon. And Kiyoon freaks out. He screams like he just sold his mercs in the tournament. And he just it was the funniest shit ever. And then P-God just keeps doing it like half the car ride, and Kiyoon is just freaking out. It's so funny.
It's honestly, it's a miracle no TFT players died in the making of this summit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Milk, what was your funniest moment in Summit?
Honestly, I don't think I had like one most funniest moment in the entire event. I think it's like overall, like every day was like kind of lit. So
Okay. How about a couple moments that stood out to you then? Smaller moments.
I mean, I had a lot of fun making the omelets and griefing Mortdog and like going 1-2 of Bebe, even though I thought we were going 7-8 because there's no way. Like I know I talked about like 10 times already, but there's no way you level there on 3-2, roll to 0, and you get 5-0'd. Especially like you're in a loss streak, and I'm on a win streak.
By Bryce.
We got 6-0'd.
Yeah, he made me level to 7. And I remember thinking this is so annoying because no North American player would level here, and my spot is like so fucking good. Because I'm gonna have to grief my econ to secure this win because I didn't want to fight him 6v7, but my board was so much stronger than his.
Okay, the thing is, I don't understand how he leveled there, but it didn't even matter because the game's all luck. And he went first, so
yeah.
I guess the balancing.
Turns out if you roll down at 7
and
and hit Viego 2 with 30 gold, it doesn't so much matter if you grief your econ.
I guess the funniest thing is the balancing and like TFT, the game itself, and that whatever you do doesn't matter in the long run.
Oh come on, Milk!
Like,
This was a pretty good opening patch.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Pretty good. No, I'm saying no. I'm doing the patch is like TFT. You can do whatever you want, and you can still win.
Yeah. That's the great thing, and also the most frustrating thing.
Anyone can win.
Oh, I
Build?
also
Go ahead, Ray.
Oh, I just want to say like how fun it was playing with Dog. Like the whole every single game, the whole tournament, he was just like he was so positive. Like he would always be like just chuckling. We would be laughing about like things that happening in the game. So like we were both definitely trying, but at the same time we were just like enjoying everything in the event. Like in game 5, like you guys talked about it already, but like me and Dog were literally fucking like full smiling the whole time while griefing Souless.
Yeah. Talk about that more. What was going on there?
Like I mean, Dog was at 1 HP, so it was like the whole time, like Dog, like me and Dog would just have like the biggest grin on our face because we know that we could actually like we might be able to pull it off. So like, I completely forgot that it was like a tournament, and that I had to like place well, and like we all just wanted this one thing to happen.
Yeah.
And like I was the only person that was like frantically like every single turn I ran between our room and their room. Like
How did Souless feel?
Souless actually took it like
he
a
was
champ.
down.
Honestly,
he was like it didn't matter because we were gonna win anyways. So
yeah. So like every turn, like because Dog was at 1 HP for the longest time. When someone would verse Dog, if it was a Kiyoon or Robin or someone, I would run to the other room and just watch it from their perspective and hype them up, like start patting their back, start cheering. And it was the funniest shit. Like I ran into that room like 5 times, like during that.
I hope we have video of that.
We could see in the player cam that Dog was just laughing.
Yeah.
You could see it. If you were looking for it, you'd see Ray bouncing back and forth. It was really funny.
Yeah. I loved playing with Dog. If we're both invited to the next summit, I couldn't think of any other partner I want to play with. Like it was just like the funnest experience.
I'm happy we got to see. We talked about the Think Fast roll down too, where he Omega low rolled earlier, but like it was so cool to see that and see him like that's a skill. I feel like that. If you're evaluating Dog skills at the game as someone who mainly doesn't have it as his main game, that is not the thing where you would expect him to practice it. But his roll down was so good. He just got griefed. But like the roll down itself was amazing.
After that roll down, he was like, oh man, I kind of low rolled. But then he like chuckled and he just went off because he was having fun. Like it didn't really matter. Like obviously he knew he low rolled, but like the event was so fun, it just like didn't phase him. Like,
awesome.
No,
that's really great. And Ray, like, don't forget yourself, man. You were the second highest point scorer. You earned a lot of money at this event just getting that second place as well. And I guess a lot of money relative to the average TFT prize pool.
You were also so funny on the cast. You were so good on the cast.
That was the other. Ray was the other person where we thought could hold down a cast on their own. That was Ray, obviously.
Okay. One thing about the casting, is I didn't bring any like contacts or glasses or anything because I usually I have really bad vision, and I just don't do anything about it. Like I have glasses, but I just never wear them. So I didn't expect me to not be able to see the fucking big TV from the couch, but like I could not see like half the shit that was on the. So when I was casting, like
wait, what?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when I was casting, I had to like wing it because I wouldn't know what like items were slammed or anything. I could see the units though. So then, so I was like halfway winging it. So I felt like I could have been a way better caster if I just like brought some actual vision.
You could
also say one other story about Ray that we only figured out the ending of at the end of the event is that on day 1, like so after media day, Ray was like, "Hey, I lost my hat, and I don't know if you know, but like wearing a hat is kind of my thing. Like, I need a hat." And so we went. I took him to the props closet, and we dug through all of the hats, and we gave him one, and it wasn't great. It started hurting his head. We found another hat that we gave him, and he used that. And he used it for like the entire weekend. And then on the final day, he found out that your hat was like in your hotel room the entire time.
Yeah. It was like
on the topic On the topic of commentary, I feel like we do have to shout out Milk here. I don't know, Zane, if you got this impression as well, because I know you weren't always on comms, but the production team had a very clear favorite for who they loved having 100%. On the couch, and it was Milk. Like, it wasn't even close. They would start clapping when Milk was on the couch. They loved it.
Yeah, Tommy, who was our TD for the event. Which
the Tommy
he's
guy.
The one,
yeah, you know Tommy.
Yeah, you know Tommy.
Tommy's
the one who's like actually calling the shots on everything, right? And like saying where we go and what camera angle to use and everything. And it was very early on in the event. I don't remember exactly what it was, but Milk was on the couch and he was talking, and Tommy was just laughing. Went, wait, this is my guy. This is. He immediately fell in love with Milk.
I think
awesome.
I think a lot of the comments. Sorry, go.
I kind of want to hear directly from Milk as well, because I know we're taking turns. But Milk, what was it like commentating at Summit from you?
Oh, honestly, it was super fun. Like, it was like no stress. It was basically like just talking in Discord with your friends, which is like my favorite style. It's not really commentary. It's just like hanging out with your friends. So I don't even consider it commentary. It's just like hanging out with friends, which is
I want to give a shout out to Bryce and Dan, because the moment where you made Milk and Bebe actually cast and like set it up the fight and do play-by-play was so funny.
I didn't say anything. It was all Bebe.
You did not.
Right, perfect
sit here. Play-by-play.
You did not do your job.
Play-by-play weird. I just watched the fight and go,
you were supposed to set up the fight, man. You were gonna do the analyst, remember?
Okay, the thing is, do you remember that fight? The entire time I was looking at Mortdog, because do you remember the dog? I don't know who's fighting. Like, when Soul's about to die, he was fighting Zed, and he fought a Zed clone, and the Zed didn't jump. And I thought the entire thing was gonna be,
the hacker.
I was so scared that all of that, and it was gonna be a bug that like decided the fate. But Soul's board was so bad that like it didn't matter. But like,
you stared at Mortdog instead of the actual.
I literally stared at Mortdog the entire time I was looking at him.
that's a power move.
We should send Todd to take a picture of that. Oh my god, no.
Because I saw the Zed clone, I'm like, this is Mortdog guy. Let's turn around.
Yeah. Got it. All right. So we asked your funniest moments. What are your favorite moments? Whether for happy reasons, maybe it's another funny moment, maybe something that surprised you. We'll start with you, Milk.
My favorite moment? Honestly, I guess just meeting everyone I haven't met yet, because I don't know, TFT hasn't land in like basically TFT has no lands. So just being able to see like all your friends that you never get to see is, I guess, the best moment of the summit.
Yeah.
Not the game itself. It's more so just like meeting people.
It makes sense. You're actually there's only been 2 lands really, and you've been to both of them. The TwitchCon 20. I guess there's set 2 invitational, but we don't count that. And then we also have
TC2.
Thank you. And TC1. Both of which Milk was invited to, and I got a Monka in response.
I mean, I think it's like not enough people go kind of thing, you know?
Pocky and Void. Now you know enough people that you can
Pocky,
go.
Void, Ramkev, SpicyAppies.
Because I see those guys every week anyways, is the thing.
Okay, so I went to my Melee local last night, right? The nightclub, great Melee local. If you live in New York or the tri-state area and want to play Melee, come through. And I ran into Albert, who is a former Texas Falco main, now lives in Seattle.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in New York randomly, right? To hang out for a friend's birthday. But it turns out that the friend's birthday is someone who he went to college with, who also went to college with Dallas and Flightsy. So we took a picture together and sent it to Dallas and Flightsy, and then I guess Flightsy didn't end up coming. But here, I'm finding it right now. I told Dallas.
Crazy.
I told Dallas, like, hey, you have to take a photo with Albert tonight because they're at a birthday party, and he did. It's not showing up on my phone right now, but yeah, Dallas, Flightsy, and Albert all know each other from college, and like Deftly, the League of Legends player too.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
What the heck? That was the most cracked gaming dorm in New York history.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this photo that Dallas sent me, but I can't find it now. But It was very, very weird.
Okay. Ray, what was your favorite moment of Summit?
I mean, it had to be Game 5. Like the amount of adrenaline I felt during that game, after the game, when it finally happened, was like unmatched. I don't know how we're gonna top that moment if we do a Summit 2, but
it probably can't. It probably can't. As gameplay wise,
with Mortdog there, anything is possible. Yeah, I mean, he rigged it, right? So it's all good.
No, but it's just like as Milk said, like I just had so much fun meeting with everyone. Like I'm actually surprised how well I did in like the group stage, because like every time I've hung out with TFT people in real life, it's been like the highlight of my year. like when we went to Vegas or TwitchCon. And so I knew this was going to be like such a memorable experience for me. So I actually didn't really care. Like I was going to give it my all, but like not really. Well, everyone was practicing the whole tournament off. Like besides the tournament games, I only played one TFT game the whole time there. And then the rest of the time, I would either watch people or just go around. I wanted to talk with as many people as possible and like made sure like I like hung out with as many people and just like bonded with people. I only played one TFT game besides the tournament games.
Love it.
But I watched a lot though.
Man, he's flexing on us so hard, Bryce. He only
beast.
played one, and he still got second in points. Milk, you were trying to say something? That was really sweet, Ray. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh,
Milk,
I forgot. I forgot.
Oh.
I actually
Well,
forgot.
if you remember.
Oh, yeah, I also love Milk. That's my boy.
Oh, people hug.
Oh, can I just say that at the end of the event, final night, a bunch of us go out to In-N-Out. We get like milkshakes and burgers and fries. At the end, I go back to my hotel. Right, I'm leaving, and I'm giving everybody hugs to say goodbye. Give Bryce a hug. Give Dan a hug. I go over to Milk, who's holding two milkshakes.
I'm holding 2 milkshakes, man!
One in each hand. I go to give him a hug. This man audibly whimpers and like, and then
I'm holding
doesn't
2
give me a
milkshakes,
hug.
man!
I have my arms around him.
Put
And
him
Nico's
down,
like,
Milk.
get
Put him
over here,
down.
big guy. And Nico,
Oh, yeah, but my
Nico
milkshakes,
saved
man. My milk, I'll show you milkshakes. Oh, the first one out.
If only there was a table or other flat surface somewhere in the vicinity.
Also, no one told me the hidden menu. There was probably the third flavor. Also, I could just bought like different sides as well. So I just trolled myself.
You can get them mixed. That's on the secret menu.
Yeah.
Wait. I forgot one thing we had to talk about with Ray while he's here. What was it like playing one of the craziest Mafia games in Summit history, and also just like one of the most craziest broadcasted Mafia game of all time?
Yeah. You talk about the first one where Mafia.
The first
lost.
night,
Yeah,
the first one. Oh my god.
Yeah. That game, I actually like. I feel like not a lot of people realize, but I feel like I played the worst out of all the Mafia. Like I feel like I was so nervous and like everything I said made no sense. Like there was this one part where I kept hammering Socks about something, and he was like, "Wait, what you're saying makes no sense. Like if you were blah blah blah, you would do this." And then I was like, "Wait, he's right." But like I can't just like back down. So I just kept hammering him, and like it made me look so bad. So like
No. I think early game you did a really good job mixing up, and then you kind of lost control. It was a little Monkus.
I would also say that the next game, Ray, you were Mafia, like the one that was played off stream. You were Mafia off stream, and I thought you were awesome in that game.
That wasn't off stream. That was on stream.
That was on stream. The one where we just
you're
immediately
right.
lost.
Yeah.
That was
I destroyed that game.
destroyed.
But,
My bad for not getting the logic right on Bebe. Jesus Christ.
The first game when DQA fucking Vigi shot Giga Chad's man.
Giga Chad.
Yeah. I left the room and I went to like the TV, put on the headset or whatever, like on the couch to watch it. And I completely forgot that I was Mafia that game because all I did was root for the town while I was watching. I completely forgot I was in the game. Like I just felt like I was at home watching it because like the chat with like going with the town and just hyping up the town was so lit. Like everyone was playing like DQA Giga Chad, let's go Becca, everyone like and I was just rooting for town the whole entire time that I forgot I was Mafia.
I see Nature's in chat. He's salty. I have to say, I'm looking forward to playing Mafia again because you guys actually know how to play, which is so much fun. But like, there were certain reads that I had that I didn't double down on because I don't know you guys that well. And so like, Ray tried to pocket me, which is when you're Mafia and you like notice a good town. So you're like, you're such a good town, and then try to make them trust you. He tried to pocket me so fucking hard, and I refused to be pocketed. I kept being like, I still don't think Ray is clear, by the way. And then they just killed me before I could say anything about it. But I went back and watched that game.
He's so good.
I went back and watched that game because I was like, man, I played so well that game. Me and DQA carried. I was so good. I went back and watched. I was wrong about fucking everything except that I knew Dan was Mafia. To be fair, that saved the game in conjunction with DQA. But like, oh my god, I was wrong about fucking everything. But then I played amazingly after that in our off-stream games and ethered Bryce, so that was great.
Nice.
That game. But everyone forgets the game before that where I like completely.
You carried as town the game before that.
I like. I mean, Asa was also really good that game, but I feel like I did the most work that game for sure.
Yeah, no.
Fucking Ken. I wish Ken was here so I could talk my shit to his face.
Ken Chen, the legend. All right, there's one thing we wanted to do before we wrap it up is watch a skit together. Milk, we already watched the one of you because we were originally going to layer up with the guests.
Cringe.
So, no, what are you talking about? People loved it, man. Oh, man, I actually would love to watch it again with you sometime, but
I wish there was more side events. All the side events are so much fun, actually.
You guys
Really?
spent so much time yapping before the event about we had to pull teeth to get people into the talent show.
Okay, the thing is,
None of you believed.
I didn't know there's a production value. Okay, I thought it was just be like, I thought everything was in Mortdog's basement. Okay, I thought everything was super scuffed. You didn't tell me there's something called production value. Okay, I'm not used to it. I play TFT.
I sent links to every. I mean, I
yeah, he
blame you
did
for this, Milk, because it's against your nature. But I sent video examples of everything, every single thing.
Really? Oh,
yeah, he did to everybody. He even tagged everyone. Was like, here's an example of what we'll be filming today. By the way.
Yeah, but like,
listen, if Milk can't read, he definitely can't click a YouTube link and watch it. Sure.
No, I thought Mortdog be doing it. I thought Mortdog be like producing it, recording it, writing the script.
You thought Mortdog would actually be doing all the video production?
No, but I thought it'd be like as scuffed as if like Mortdog was doing everything by himself.
I see. Well, now you're down to do more side events, right? Milk's DMing me every day with side event and skit ideas.
Me and Milk have an idea of a side event for the next summit if there is one. We want to do
pitch it right now.
We want to do like Ludwig. We want to do chess boxing, but with TFT boxing.
Okay.
And we're gonna train up until the event, and then we box and then play a TFT game.
Wait, can we just do actual boxing? Like,
this is a terrible idea.
Actually fighting.
This is a terrible idea.
I want you guys to know, for the entire time in the pre-production of this, Bryce forgot he was our lawyer. Bryce was about to have us murder a player. Bryce was like for the content. Bryce was the one who was like going to set the entire venue on fire in the cooking thing. Like this Bryce guy, like he should be disbarred. But then now, after the event is over, he's suddenly lawyer mode again.
Listen, yeah, because we're wearing different hats now, but in the room at the time, I had to. What's best for the event, Zane?
I'm down for Mortdog and Milk to do something. Man, I don't know. Someone suggested cage match. We'll improvise a little bit.
Michelle, our broadcast producer,
for an actual fight.
Wait, Mort is down?
Yeah, for an actual fight.
I have to go. I'm like over an hour late.
Okay. Let's watch this video and close it out. Bryce and Zane will exit.
I'm gonna exit. I love you all. This was an amazing experience. It was one of the best weeks of my life. Like seriously, I had so much fun. Zane, this doesn't happen without you. Thank you so much.
And so many other people. There were so many people I couldn't thank on broadcast.
That's for sure true. Yeah, to be clear, there's dozens of people who deserve the credit, but you deserve the most credit. So I can thank you again one last time. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, Bryce.
Bye,
Bryce. All right, gang, let's roll the tape if we can.
This is the last skit. This is
no more
Mortdog.
Yep.
All right.
No Mortdog one.
Raising it.
Could you say your name first?
Mortdog.
No, your full name.
Oh, Riot Mortdog. What's it like being Mortdog? It's great. It's good. It's well, most of the time.
Man, I'm getting Mortdogged again.
Dude, not cool.
Oh, my bad. I know it wasn't really you.
I know it's not me, it's him. My brother? Biggest wimp ever. The worst thing is, he gets the credit for all the hard work I do.
Mortdog again.
He's giving me a bad name. The bad luck, the good luck, none of it's me. I help make the game, I work on it, and all I have to show for it are these twitlongers and these Twitch clips. I just want people to have fun playing the game. He's just mad Mom always liked me better. He said that? About Mom? Oh, that's it.
I don't play a single unit on stage 2 at all. And then I just roll on 3-1.
Okay, that's a bold strategy. You son of a... I swear to God! Mortdog! Channel Mortdog is knock it off! I'm doing so long! Knock it off! Mortdog! It's all over! Yeah, working on TFT is great. Yeah, it's great. You don't even work on the game. I did so on set 8. I added a champ. What? You know, ever since we were kids, he hated armadillos. No, what the? Don't know why. Bit of a weird thing. I am telling Mom!
Amazing. Ray, your reaction, I think, just punctuated everything so well.
That needs to be like a sub notification for Ray's stream, I feel like.
Sure, you want to know a funny thing about filming that scene? Was the guy filming it was like, yeah, just sit there and like pretend to eat something. And I do it, and I sit there for like 7 minutes after the scene is filmed, and he's like, dude, you know you could leave whenever. Right?
Wait, what?
I was just there holding the bagel for like 10 minutes.
Wait, what?
It's amazing.
Okay. This one has some interesting behind the scenes info about it. So first of all, I wrote this one almost entirely because we had to like edit so many times and we couldn't do the Christmas skit and whatever, and it just like I just vomited it out, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I saw someone in chat saying, reminds me of The Office, and we talked to me and Travis, the guy who directed this. That was the reference point for this, was when I wrote it. I was like, imagine mockumentary, Office style, like we're going to do that a lot. That's what we want to do. And Travis shot this entire thing in like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, which if you guys have never shot a piece of content before is fucking insane.
We took 8 hours. I signed up for Travis next time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The other skit I did was only like 5 hours as well.
Yeah, because you were in 2. Yeah, you were in the most because you were also in the thing that Travis did.
Oh yeah.
The learning
the
one.
game.
Okay,
we got fleeced, Milk. We got fleeced, man.
Here's the true behind the scenes thing on this one.
Okay.
So we had to have a body double, right, for when we're shooting.
For Mort.
Mortdog's shoulder or something to wear
Right.
the same clothes as him. Does anyone know who the body double is? Who was not in the skit?
I don't.
I have no clue.
It was LD, our founder.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's fun. I didn't know that little Easter egg.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's
LD was
great.
part of the Summit skit. That's fantastic. Okay. Best actor has to be Mortdog. Worst actor has to be Precedent. This dude can't keep character at all, man. He's trying not to crack up every time.
Okay, you know who my favorite actor of all the skits was? Is actually Kent. I think Kent nailed it.
Oh yes.
I don't think people
Kent as
praise
the
him
judge.
enough.
I thought that you were pretty good.
Oh, thank you. But I also think Kent was.
I was gonna say I watched like you do it fucking like 50 takes.
Oh, thank you. I thought that overall everyone's acting level surprised me. Like in general, like I was really surprised. How much people were able to do it.
Everybody.
Almost everybody. Maybe not Precedent and maybe not Becca. I think Becca was looking like she was laughing a little too much during the.
Wait, what about me? I thought it was awful. I took 50 takes for fucking to say one Twitch emote.
Rat.
But you got
No,
there.
but the thing is, you were giving us like different takes. Like sometimes you would stand up and just be like, bet. And then sometimes you'd walk up very sheepishly and go, oh, bet. What? Yeah, we have it all filmed, man. It's true. So you gave us different feet. You gave us different takes.
I gotta say, I really gotta go. I'm sorry. I also have a lawyer house. My fiance is a lawyer. I'm keeping her up. She needs to work because as much fun as TFT Summit is, we still have to put money on the table.
Okay. Thank you so much, Zane.
I'll say one more time. Again, I did my cry speech, so I won't say too much this time. Just this was the experience of a lifetime. I'm so thankful to all the players for being so welcoming. It was so amazing. I hope we get to do another one. And also, because I didn't get to say it on broadcast, like so many people were involved in making this happen from Riot and the BTS side. I'm not going to shout them all out right now, but like I am just the person who comes up with the dumb ideas and then they make them happen. And there are so many people who work through not knowing the game, who work through like personal stuff going on to make this happen. And they all love you guys too. So we would love to see you back. It's a Riot decision, not us, but I think we would all love to see you back.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Zane. A round of applause digitally for Zane and the rest of the Beyond the Summit team. Have a good night. Thanks for staying really late.
Bye, everyone.
Good night, guys.
All right, and so now it's just Gangly, myself wrote in, and Nook and Ray. I guess we make up the squad of 4. Let's wrap up the show. We were supposed to do a call-in segment, but obviously we don't have enough time, so let's just wrap it up here. Gangly, give me your final thoughts and summary from your end.
Look, I mean, I had the privilege to be able to work Smash Summit 2 way back in, like, I think maybe been 2016, something like that. And I never dreamed that, 1, I'd be able to work another Summit event, but 2, that I would get to work a Summit event in a different game that I have just completely fallen in love with. I don't want to take up too much time. What I will just say is that huge shout out to Zane for bringing me out. Dan and Bryce, I know you two are always rooting for me, and I'm sure that somewhere in the talks my name came up. So thank you to everyone who allowed me to have that opportunity. I had the time of my life at Summit, and getting to meet everybody and just make those bonds is completely unforgettable. So I'm rooting for TFT Summit 2.
We all are, buddy. All right, Ray, final words. Anything you want to say? Maybe a last story if you want to toss it in there.
Oh, last story. I mean, there's so many good stories, but I know. I wanted to say earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt. But I think like another person I want to shout out is like Iniko. Like I told him in person, but I think he really like I think he really like popped off like on the couch the whole event. I think he really shined. And yeah, I think like
I agree.
Yeah, I think he popped off really hard.
Yeah, the all-star couch was Ray, Appies, Iniko, and this last guy, Milk. Actually, Bebe as well. Those are probably the top 5 of the people set on couch. Milk, any final comments?
Oh, yes. I will shout out Riot Games. I feel like them taking a risk on TFT.
I love Riot Games.
And like, the production value of this event was actually like infinite. So I actually really appreciate that Riot like invested the money that cost, because just the production value was so high for this event. And like other games like Smash get like no support whatsoever from their devs. So I actually like really I always flamed them. I actually like really appreciate them putting an event on. Yeah.
Wow. I can't think of a better way to wrap up the show. Gangly, that's it, man. This has been Don't Talk If You Don't Know, the TFT Summit Debrief edition for Frodan, Bryce, Gangly, Zane, and every special guest that joined us. Thank you so much, everyone who tuned in for the summit, who tuned in for this episode, and for everything coming up in the future. The future of TFT is truly bright. We'll see you next time for more TFT action.
Summit 2! Sash!